the shadows lengthen in Carcosa. Strange is the night where black stars rise. Strange moons circle through the skies. Much stranger still is lost Carcosa. Song of my soul, my voice is dead. Die thou unsung as tears unshed shall dry and die in lost Carcosa. Strange is the night where black stars rise, and strange moons circle through the skies. Much stranger still is lost Carcosa. Song that the Heides shall sing, where flap the tatters of the king must die unheard in dim Carcosa. Song of my soul, my voice is dead. Die thou unsung as tears unshed shall try and die in lost Carcosa.
Yeah, I can't stand it when it's too sweet.
Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to the first session, not zero, the first session of Murmurs at the Abyss in Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. My name is Stu. I am your keeper.
Oh,
And-
it sounds so creepy when you put
and
it
to
that
my
way.
It's 4:22 in the afternoon. Do you know where your kids are? You're the keeper. I'm CADave, and I'm going to be playing Dr. Edward J. Freedman, a psychiatrist.
You sound unsure.
Well, it's very new. It's a new thing.
And it's like, what, the mind has health? Meh, just tough it out.
Yeah.
Yes. We've moved past just the horrible things. And now we're trying
We're trying to be better.
slightly less horrible, but more specifically horrible things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, everything's a process.
It's true.
There's gold leaf on your face.
Oh, that's going to happen. Thanks. Hi, I'm Kimi. I'm playing Doris Daniels. I am a hot mess today. And she is kind of the physical, athletic one of this group. She grew up with her dad in Wild West shows, and so she's pretty good at shooting and stuff like that. Now she's a world-renowned conservationist, travels the world, writes sort of scientific stuff, but is kind of famous, and just like wants to protect the environment and things like that.
My name is Jim, and I will be playing Isadore Holzman, archaeologist and professor at the university. He was used to work for the Romanovs before the end of World War I and was captured and stuck in an Ottoman jail throughout the entire duration of the First World War, which kind of drove him a little batsy.
And like it does.
Like it does, like you do.
Great place to start Call of Cthulhu.
I like it. I like it so much. Hi, my name is Pooja. I will be playing Camilla Greenwald. She is a librarian at the university.
Excellent. Now, does anyone have a copy of the telegram I gave you guys last?
I do.
I do.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Everybody. 100% of us. We all get gold stars.
I was about to say, like, if only classrooms could have this kind of participation. We've made him
all had it.
overcome.
Yeah.
We've made him overcome with joy, and he had to go collect himself. Or,
They do love me. The things that I do matter.
He got the vapors.
I appreciate that he went to the back of the room because I know what that means.
All right. Just for the audience, would anyone like to read it? Because basically, you all get summoned, or some of
I'll go ahead and read it.
some of you get summoned to Dr. Albright. maybe
Right.
goes
It's
to
a
the
Western
faculty
Union
lounge.
telegram, and it says from Dr. Adam Chester Albright, Ravenhearse University, Norwich,
It's actually
New York.
two to him.
To
Yeah.
Dr. Adam Chester Albright, Ravenhearse University, Norwich, New York, April 6, 1921. From Kissel Hill, Pennsylvania.
It's 4:45 p.m.
4:45 p.m. Incident occurred in Kissel Hill, Pennsylvania, which you might find of interest. Stop. Kissel Hill has suffered infestation of a possible locust migratoria. Stop. All crops destroyed. Stop. Identification of insect is certain, but is primarily African in origin. Stop. Shall remain in Kessel Hill for a fortnight. Stop. Staying at the Riverside Inn and available for consultation. Stop. Dr. Erasmus Anastas.
What are these, like, what's the N45612DL mean?
Oh, it's some kind of it's the code of the station from where it was transmitted.
Okay.
It's like the origin.
Oh, DL means daily letter. Day
Yes.
letter is the, if you look at the signs up there.
Yes. Which is kind of why I was asking about the
Yeah.
other stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, what does this have to do with that? Also,
Okay.
what does date letter mean?
This is
It's the pricing schedule. I think day letters
You
are
came
the
in during
cheapest.
usual business hours.
Yeah.
But then if you made somebody get up and send a message in the middle of the night, you got to pay extra.
So just like now.
or weekend letter.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So probably in the faculty lounge or something, Dr. Albright comes in, and I don't know. There's the two of you would definitely. Let's say you're there.
I am sitting there probably reading a book, smoking a pipe.
You might be there as well, probably. You're not technically faculty, but you're the librarian, right?
I am.
Okay.
I am the librarian.
I feel like I could be there too because
Sure.
we said that I was like a guest lecturer or something
Right.
for this semester.
So he brings it in, and he sets the thing on the table. Says, "You're familiar with Dr. Anastas, are you not?"
Yes, I am. Actually, who was it? The name of the guy that? Dr. Anastas. Is it morning?
It's in the afternoon.
Good
This is Dr. Albright.
Oh, Dr. Albright.
Yes. That's why he comes to you. He's like, "You're familiar." He hands you the telegram,
Oh, and I pick it up.
and
Oh, that's interesting indeed.
yes, this particular locust is not known in the Americas, and that is a bit peculiar. I'm wondering if he perhaps had misidentified.
Well, it's not unusual for invasive species to be brought over by either ignorance or accident, being put into a fostering position where they're allowed to grow in large numbers and then infest an area, overtake whatever natural predators that would regulate that sort of thing. It's not out of the question scientifically, I would think.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help but overhear. You're talking about something from Africa?
Yes, apparently there is a strange locust infestation from a species that has not been identified in the Americas.
Interesting.
We're assuming I was assuming under the postulation that perhaps it is an invasive species brought over by man and someone that just has no knowledge of how these things work and the damage such things can cause. I can tell you a story about invasive species of rabbits in Australia and how they started, and he just trails off.
Right. I'm wondering if you'd be willing to go down and meet with the good doctor and perhaps bring back a sample to see if, in fact, maybe he's misidentified it.
You know, I have been seeking the opportunity to travel a bit since my courses seem to be in hiatus for this semester, and I've advanced quite a bit in my research. I could spare some time to do so if you would like me to. It's not my usual field of expertise, as you know.
Well, certainly. I mean, he may have or already have acquired samples for us to bring back, but it just it's a very peculiar thing, and I would just like someone to follow up on it.
Oh, I am a servant to the cause of science, sir. And I would be happy to do so. I'm assuming that the university would be paying for the passage and the boarding.
Of course.
It's important to clarify these things up front.
Front, he's not a rich man. He's not this guy. Well, transportation.
Where do you have to go?
Oh, apparently, where is this place?
Oh, you
Kissel
just
Hill.
got a brand new car you want to go drive.
Pennsylvania.
I wasn't paying any attention until I heard that part. Pennsylvania? That's
That's a simple train trip away. It shouldn't be too
my
bad.
goodness. We can do better than that.
Better than a train? It's a tried and true form of transportation.
Well, yeah, but look, you'd have to go all the way into the city first, and then all the way. No, it's much more direct.
But what?
I'll give you a ride.
Not in that infernal claptrap that you call an automobile.
It is. There's no better choice on the road today.
Those things are loud and dusty. But you're correct. It probably is the most direct course. But I'd be happy to take you up on your offer if you would like to. If you would like to accompany me, and I most certainly would appreciate the company.
Well,
Did I hear
I'm
you
quite
say
excited.
Pennsylvania?
Indeed, Pennsylvania, birthplace of this democracy, I would say, in a lot of ways. What is your interest in this in the place?
I've actually been meaning to travel there. I had a bit of an interest in some history of the university, and especially now upon this great anniversary of the that we have this year. You may have read about it in the Knowledge Weekly.
Oh, yes,
Our
quite indeed.
Criminal Psych Ward is celebrating its anniversary, and I've been asked to
Pooja did the homework.
put together a bit of.
Stu's so proud.
I've been asked to put together a bit of research on when the Psych Ward was first, our psychiatric facility was first introduced to the world. And there is, I have heard, a retired member of the original staff down in Pennsylvania.
Oh, I see.
If that's okay with Stu.
Your character?
No, that I was hearing. I heard that like a retired person from the staff,
Okay,
like when
sure.
it first started, is down there
Sure.
somewhere, possibly.
Well, that is interesting as well, but your particular talents could actually be of merit in this investigation if you could gather some materials as to the variety of identified locust species and maybe do some research before we leave that we may review.
It would be my pleasure to research.
You would probably be the most likely to be able to do that as quickly as possible.
Understandable, and it does seem like it's something that requires some urgency. If I heard, couldn't help it over here.
Well, it's a horrible situation. I mean, the entire crop has been lost, and I'm certain that they're anxious to make sure that this doesn't happen again in an adjacent location.
Absolutely.
So I would say that, yes, it does require some urgency, and your expertise would definitely be useful.
Well, I feel that the three of you will definitely need a bit of supervision dealing with the wild animals as they were. So, do you mind if I come? I mean, have you survived a swarm of locusts before, any of you?
Actually, once in Egypt.
Oh, very good then. I guess I'll stay here.
Don't really
No,
intend on
no.
touching
I would
any
definitely
insects.
appreciate the company of one such as yourself.
Oh.
Especially
Honestly, this does seem like a bit of a remote area. It maybe somebody with some wilderness expertise might be of excellent use.
Plus, it might be in the papers.
Indeed. And it actually might be good exposure for the university all in all.
Ah, yes, the university.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Well, it's all agreed. When do you think we may be able to take our leave?
Well, I'll go pack an overnight bag immediately.
How much time would you need?
give me let's say I would need like an hour to gather my things, but I would also need 1 to 2 hours to do the requisite research that you have requested before I begin.
Perhaps you should leave tomorrow in the morning to avoid any travel at night.
Certainly. We can get better speed during the day.
Indeed. And
Will all of us be traveling in your vehicle?
There's plenty of room.
yes, it's quite luxurious.
Oh,
Very good.
4.88 horsepower.
that's remarkable.
Impressive.
I would recommend goggles, ladies. It does get dusty on the road.
Also,
It has a
definitely-
windscreen. It just doesn't have sides.
Yes, I'm saying. All these things are rolling tents, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's like. In any case, so shall we say tomorrow morning then?
Very good.
Wonderful.
Okay. So
I need to find some. Oh, they wouldn't be called a fuel canisters.
Also,
Right.
would you mind just? I understand that travel and lodging is going to be covered for the university for you, but would it be possible for you to broach the subject of expenses for?
I will be happy to negotiate on our behalf, and I wish to make sure that we have the necessary resources in order to do this and avoid any unnecessary difficulty on our travel.
Do so appreciate your assistance in this matter.
Absolutely. So yeah, he just makes sure everything's handled, and that not only that, but wire ahead if there's if there's going to be a stop off point to make sure that there's a hotel that's going to expect all of us and that all the arrangements are made.
All right.
I try to do that through the secretary of the president of the university
Okay.
or whoever does that, and to ensure that everything is taken care of. Travel arrangements are completely made.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a halfway point, then there's a hotel there that they make arrangements for you there, and then also they make arrangements for you in Kissel Hill as well.
Very good.
So
Because it's not like we have motels at every corner at this point in time.
Right.
It's
Or that most hotels would accept 2 men and 2 women who
aren't married.
Aren't married.
they were married. Yeah.
One of whom is of mixed race.
Yeah.
Like it's a
Well,
not
I'm-
a given.
My character is flagrantly Jewish, like completely, and that still is sort of a thing back then too. So
True. So I feel in you a kindred spirit.
yeah, no, that's the thing is like I feel that you felt appropriate to approach me in that because we're kind of like both kind of outsiders in this crap, so let's stick together. all the way.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right,
and they also give you like
a per diem or something.
probably figure. Oh, what would be a acceptable figure for 4 people?
Well,
$5 a day, $10 a day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think
That's
$5
a
a day is plenty.
Probably
because
fine.
that's like a
Yeah.
20 income spending limit. So that's probably something.
Okay. So they
Because at
get
30, you get a $10 per day.
they figure probably 6 days.
Yeah.
So they give you $6 to $30
So, sounds great.
out of petty cash. And then you're gonna do some research on the locust migratoria.
Yes.
Okay.
Locusta migratoria.
Your library use skill, please.
Ooh.
My library
First dial
is,
of the game.
First
in the actual-
dial.
I have a 75.
And it's
Okay.
a dorky one.
And
You're
you're
the
Just saying
dorkiest.
it's completely
You're the only one here that
100%
isn't a
on
dork.
brand
I know.
here.
And since this is your library, I'm going to give you a bonus die. So take a second tens die,
Oh, that's smart. That's
and
good.
and then use the higher of the 2, or the lower of the 2.
I was like, ouch.
Mean.
And my library sucks.
That's a 52.
Okay, all right. So you're able to find a textbook that has several illustrations of the locust in question.
Actually, I also go, after I make arrangements, I go back to the library where she's doing this research. Camilla, dear. I just had another thought and suggestion. Perhaps we should also do a little bit of research in species that might be predatory towards the locusts that are native to that area, and see if there's maybe an introduction of a higher level of something predatory might somehow mitigate the problem.
So, research into possibly introducing kind of a new equilibrium.
Indeed, maybe some avian species that's known for hunting down these things, or another insect that is known for devouring these locusts. Pesticides would probably be useful, but if we found a natural means of ridding ourselves of the problem, it might be a little bit faster and better.
I'll see what I can find.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Same deal. Same kind of role.
Do it again.
Now, are you the kind of librarian who's going to, like, this is my library, so I'm going to take this book with me? Or are you going to, like, use tracing paper and trace out the illustrations and leave the book safe here?
I am going to trace out the illustrations of note.
Okay.
Good job.
And leave the book for future
Bonus dive.
for
Never
future
thought about
reference.
that. Yeah, that's exactly what people do.
How you photocopies in the 20s, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like that was actually
Now, does-
a thing that I was
legitimately
planning on
take a
saying. is,
photograph.
like-
Does anyone have a camera? Does anyone, or a photographer, or have a camera or anything like that?
I think I have a camera.
I think you said you were taking photography for
Yeah,
like
yeah.
animals and stuff. Yeah.
62 under my 75.
All right.
And guys were like, we want to roll high for you. That's what we're supposed to do, right?
Right.
Yes, I have a camera and a tripod.
Okay, cool. So, you get a list of 3 or 4 animals. Most of them are birds that would eat this sort of thing. And also some sort of beetle that maybe attacks where they nest or something like that. So
Cool deal.
doesn't
Right.
attack them, but eats the eggs or something.
So I'm going to take some notes on those species of, birds, trace of the locust itself, and then possibly like if I found any other like what was actually already native to the area,
Okay.
and take a couple of traces of those for comparison
Okay.
in case of like, oh, is this just a natural like locust cycle?
It's mesmerizing, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Because I know that, like, in my research, I found that that's a thing, that it's like, every once in a while, locusts just swarm.
Right.
You have to deal with it. Is this one of those situations?
Right. Yeah. Well, through your research, this particular species being here is very unusual. So something happened.
Yeah. But like, oh, did they misidentify? So I'm going to take some traces of
Right.
Yeah.
of other kinds.
Okay. All right. Anything else anyone's doing this night? Or we're going to fast forward to the next morning.
I'd probably spend time like rearranging my actual like patient schedule
Okay.
so that I could have a couple of days,
Okay. All right.
and then breaking it to my department chair like, oh, Dr. Albright really needed me to go down to Pennsylvania and investigate a thing. I'm real sorry I can't help with all the preparations for the anniversary. Oh, darn.
I actually spent a lot of time with my TAs and graduate students, making sure that they have tasks to perform.
Okay.
In which I will be, of course, wanting to see results when I return.
Right. And
I'm going to have leaked to like local press that I've been requested for a special
Adventure.
problem with some special African species that I can't talk too much about, but they needed my particular skill set with such challenges.
so, just would you be under the Antiquarian Institute
I would believe so, being
Okay.
an architect.
or archaeologist?
I mean, archaeologist.
Because I'm doing the university staff list.
Oh, okay.
What's your last name?
Holzman. Holzman.
Okay. So Margaret Ravenhearse is your boss. She's the department head. That's the daughter of.
There you go.
Oh, I think I already have. She's the daughter of Albert Ravenhearse,
Right.
who established the university.
Oh, okay. Cool. No pressure there.
All right. So the next morning, you get your schedule arranged. Because I mean, it's a teaching hospital, so there's there's residents, and even though you're not, because you're specifically a psychiatrist, you're not part of the teaching staff. I'm assuming. It's up to you.
I would probably teach like a class just
Right.
to be on staff.
Okay.
Kind of, it's probably like a requirement
Got it.
kind of a deal, but I spend most of my time with the patients.
Do you hate it or do you love it?
No, I hate it. I hate the teaching part.
Okay. All right. So, but you can use the opportunity to make busy work for the residents.
Oh, sure.
Okay. So you guys head out, and over the course of the day, you end up at some point between Norwich and Kissel Hill. Stay at a small hotel, and then the next morning you continue your journey.
How far upstate New York is Norwich? Just generally.
It's right next to a body of water. Last time I looked at the map.
Okay.
I don't know how.
So maybe near Buffalo?
Like, it's next to, like, the Great Lakes? Or, like, next to, like, one of the Finger Lakes?
I don't remember. I'm just vaguely remembering that from when I picked the city.
See, we've passed all of our research tests, too.
Right. I'm looking right now.
That would actually be a cool thing for Google to do, is like a Google Maps thing where you can set a date and
Oh,
show you
that'd
the
be
map
cool.
of the
that would
how
be
it was at that
awesome.
time. That would be so tight.
That's a very specifically useful tool for a small number of people that use Google Maps.
I think that would
Actually, I think it
Because
would
anyone
find
who's like doing research into the time period or in like authors,
students who
Awesome.
students
Yeah.
who are doing projects, like I think it would be
I think it would be very
I
useful.
think if somebody figured out how to do that, they could make a lot of money.
I mean, it probably you have to go into some historical archives and some of the old maps, because a lot of this stuff wasn't even mapped before the Automobile Association came around. It was very poor.
It's roughly midway between Buffalo and New York City.
Okay.
It's not near water. I was mistaken by that.
Right.
I was thinking of Rochester.
my great grandfather by marriage, in-law, whatever it is, actually was paid by the U.S. government. He had a Model T, and a big chunk of the West, like it was his job to drive out there and like start mapping where things were and roads and stuff. It's
Well,
actually- it's
yeah,
pretty
the story of that is actually kind of fascinating.
Yeah. And he had to fix his wheel like every other day. If he was lucky, it's pretty funny.
Road conditions were shit.
There were it's like dirt roads and a
Exactly.
wooden wheel or whatever it was.
Lucky if you have
Fascinating.
gravel.
Yeah.
Right.
Super lucky.
Okay. So the second day, sometime midday, you make it into Kissel Hill, and as you're arriving, you can see columns of smoke, which you sort of would suspect, because one of the ways that you combat locust infestations is to burn down the crops.
Yeah.
So that they don't continue to flourish and then go on and destroy more crops.
Yeah.
I see they're destroying it with fire. If this couldn't get any more biblical.
Oh, I mean,
And there are like whole fields of wheat and corn that just ablaze. And
the
it's
religious texts
quite
can teach us
spectacular.
much that is practical in the world.
I believe so. Well, for one personally, even and even for other effects, the scripture is a guide to us all.
Oh, and something that you may not have known when you set out here, this is an Amish settlement.
Oh,
So
lovely.
Freaking great.
You do not see a lot of cars. Well, you don't see that many cars anyway, but you see fewer here than you would in a typical city.
Doris is super annoyed. He does not like their views on women or any of that.
And there's a lot of beards and a lot of black hats.
Yeah.
No, but I full on have like that wool paperboy like riding hat, the scarf, the goggles, the leather
Oh, yes.
jacket,
I've definitely,
the
like-
full nine.
There's a giant scarf tucked around my
Yeah.
head, like glasses to protect my face, wrapped around my nose and mouth.
Driving for 2 days in a car, this is an adventure. It's such novelty. It's actually quite exciting.
This is quite a bit more comfortable than I had anticipated. Thank you.
I'm glad. This is one of the first times I've gotten to get her out for a long trip. Just driving to and from home is not as exciting as you could expect.
Was there a situation where we had to change the wheel and I had because like it's both of us just trying to figure it out? It's like
No.
soft hand intellectuals trying to go. I don't know.
Then I come in and I just do it
just
for
do
you.
it. Yeah.
And I imagine that, I mean, though even just hearing the roar of the engine is quite thrilling.
I can't say that I've had so much fun in the last year.
Well, I am looking for the Riverside Inn. So first thing I do is look for a river.
Okay. Well, at some point, the road that you're on sort of kind of comes up alongside a river, and you see there's sort of a white spot in the road that must be the downtown area.
And as soon as we spot the Riverside Inn, I'm assuming that. Well, what kind of main square is it? Like, is it like old towny, like Music Man type of?
Oh,
deal?
it's tiny.
Okay.
I mean, it's tiny. There's a very large church, and then there's like a general store, and it looks like the Riverside Inn was a very large house that has been converted into a hotel, and I mean, there's just a few. There's a few businesses there, but this is for the most part all farmland.
Okay. So,
And there is a telegraph office here.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. But the good doctor told us that he was staying at the Riverside Inn. So
That's
I'm
correct.
just going to go ahead and get out of the car. It says I'll see if I can get a porter and make arrangements and try to contact everyone. And I just go in the car, and it's probably there isn't a garage or anything around here, so I don't know what we're going to do with the car.
There's a stable.
Yeah.
I'm sure the horses will love it.
In the field next to the inn.
They're lighting things on fire, bro.
Not right next to the town. They're not like, oh.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, you never know.
These are the Amish. I'm just saying. So yeah, I'm going to go inside the. I'm going to go inside the hotel, and we had
Say you
wired
should
ahead.
apologize, but I doubt they're watching. Sorry.
I go. My name is Dr. Holzman. We wired ahead and are expected. We are looking for Dr. Albright. He sent for us.
Anastas.
Anastas, sorry. And also said we have bags in the car outside that need to be taken in.
Of course.
Ding ding. And at that, basically, I'm just going to sit in the lobby and assume that they're going to find who we need.
Yep. And a bellboy comes out to gather your luggage.
Sure.
And the hotel probably, or the university probably sprang for 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there like...
Otherwise, it would be scandalous.
Yeah.
Dude, you just don't do that.
Right.
Well,
Is
it
there
would
like
just
a
be
local
awkward.
newspaper
Like,
around
four
in the
people
hotel
there.
lobby?
No, there is not a local paper.
Or like a regional paper? Nothing? Okay. It's just place is too small.
Yeah, this is a little tiny town.
No, I just don't know if if they have like the whatever the next main city has a Times and they come out here and deliver it like
The
once a week or
Pennsylvania
something.
Gazette.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, they
Yeah.
probably have a couple of copies. It's probably a weekly.
Yeah, but still, I'm just going to peruse that.
Okay.
See if if I can glean anything from it. Because really, it's the only way. There's no internet. This is all I got.
Right. Well, there's mention of the fact that this has happened because this is obviously.
I just didn't know how big news this was. Whether this was like this is kind of isolated and people aren't talking about it, or whether the state is actually holy crap, this is going on.
It doesn't seem to be causing any sort of panic or anything like that, but it's definitely a notable thing.
Okay.
And they want to also make sure that all farmers in surrounding regions know. So,
Keep an eye out for.
right. Get ready to burn your crops, I guess. So, but they, it's mentioned that Dr. Anastas is quoted in it as well.
Okay. So, like I said, I'm taking the dust off the road, and I'm just trying to settle in and waiting for Dr. Anastas to
Okay.
come to see us.
So they bring the bags in and they check you into your rooms, and when you're sitting out there, 10 or 15 minutes later, Dr. Anastas comes down and sees you. He has a big gray beard and wool suit, pretty typical.
What? A wool suit?
Right.
That's shocking.
Shocking, I say.
Oh,
Shocking.
Doctor.
And I know it before Labor Day, too.
There's the Straw Hat Riots, dude. We're not too far from that. They're like a year away from that, from the freaking Straw Hat Riots.
Right.
It's crazy. And I introduced myself, Doctor. Well, I don't know if you remember me. Dr. Holzman.
Oh yes, yes.
The
of
university sent me and a retinue from the university to look into the situation with the locust infestation.
course. Indeed, it is quite a mystery. It's quite a mystery. I have some samples. There's a general store across the way and connected to a small warehouse, and they've been letting me use a corner of it as sort of an office. So when you're settled, I can take you and show you what I have thus far.
Very good. We've also brought some reference material to aid us in our investigation. I'll make sure that it's brought with us.
Excellent.
Well, then I will go ahead and finish to our arrangements so we can get to work as soon as possible. And then I head upstairs and I met with the doctor. He has some samples. He set up a small laboratory over in the general store next door. And I after that I rap on the ladies' room and I go, ladies, apparently there's been a laboratory set up in the general store across the way. Whenever you're ready, would you please meet us there so we can get steadily to work. And if you could please bring this research material, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. So everyone gets settled, and then you all head over across the street.
Wash off travel dust, which I'm sure there is much of.
Yeah.
And
With the lack of sights.
the wind has shifted, and now all of the people walking around and now have their faces covered because there's freaking smoke and
Everywhere.
ash everywhere.
Oh, fantastic.
I probably specifically hurry over to the general store to buy some like canvas.
Oh, get your car covered.
Yeah.
I was thinking, wouldn't you already own that? Because you'd cover the car at home, too, right?
I probably have a garage, so I don't know if I.
Yeah. Mr. Rich Kid over here probably has a garage.
Yeah.
Look,
Living that life of
motorsport is
luxury.
not.
It's not a poor man's hobby.
Exactly. Not at this time, for sure.
Not now, either.
Got me a Diet Coke, too. I'm gonna say Doris is like ready for this. She's got like her clothes are like very fashionable, like what you would picture like an adventurer to look like perfectly tailored. She's not like beautiful by any means, but like her clothes are like perfection. And she's got like the perfect bandana, like to cover her face already, and it sort of goes with the outfit, like
It's striking.
striking.
You cut quite the dashing figure, if you don't mind me saying so.
Well, thank you so much. I'm used to trying to look my best in the worst conditions. You never know when a photographer's going to show up, you know. Although,
Aren't you the photographer?
sometimes.
Ah,
Oh, you're not there. Are you there?
I
Did
don't-
we go? Okay,
I mean,
yeah, you can be there.
You're right.
I think we're in our rooms still, right?
Yeah.
Or,
then no, I'm not.
Okay.
So I don't think so.
Yeah,
But
she takes photographs of animals and stuff, but she also likes to like pose next to.
No, I get
Yeah.
I totally get it. I
Yeah.
was just giving you a hard time.
Oh, yeah.
But then I realized that I wasn't part of that conversation. So I had to be quiet. Yeah.
I'll rewrap my
Steve.
my scarf, my travel scarf,
Okay.
to cover like my nose and mouth and provide.
Yeah, like before you guys get out of your rooms, the smoke is starting to pervade.
Yeah, okay.
Because I mean, these.
Well, this is going to be quite the pleasant atmosphere.
Yes. Well.
Though I suppose it's better smoke than locusts.
It definitely is. I'd be more worried about how the townsfolk are going to be in a mood, considering they're burning their livelihoods at the moment.
True. Well, no use dallying anymore, I suppose.
To the general store, then.
Okay. So the general store, small building, probably about 20 by 20 feet, and then behind that is sort of a warehouse. It's a large warehouse. It's sort of like the, I don't know, they have a name for those things, but it's the sort of like the general purpose warehouse that all of the farmers use.
Barn.
Well, there's a
Dry
name
goods storage, not a great.
No, yeah.
It's a dry good. It's for dry goods storage, but it's also sort of like their marketplace
Yeah,
as
okay.
well when this comes time.
Like a early co-op.
Kind of,
Kind
yeah,
of.
something like that. But it's obviously not very full right now. And in one corner, you see that there's a local map of the area on the wall, and there's a table set up, and there's a microscope And Dr. Anastas is there, and he sees you when you come in, and he beckons you over.
I introduce everybody to Dr. Anastas, and I'll do it that way so I don't have to remember everybody's name.
Okay.
Even though I have it written down, it says, "Oh yeah."
You have your little tentacle.
And
It is a cool thing to have on the character
yeah, it is
sheet.
kind of a cool
It
thing to have
is.
on the character sheet, but I
'Cause-
didn't write last names like an idiot.
Oh. I don't think we all had last names last time. I came up with mine in the car on the way here today, so.
I'm going to take
like
care
it.
of this. Doris, what's your last name?
Daniels. Because superheroes have alliteration names.
Yes. And Camilla, what was your last name?
Greenwald.
Uh-huh.
Greenwald?
Greenwald. And Edward?
Freedman.
Freedman. This is Dr. Freedman. This is Miss Daniels and Miss Greenwald. We've been brought together by the university to come assist you. We brought some documentation on the different forms of locusts that were local or foreign to here, so we can try to properly identify, or actually positively identify, the species. If you would just simply show us what you have.
He brings out a little board, and he has like 6 or 7 of them killed on the board with little pins. Some face up, some face down, so you get a good view of them entirely. Sets the thing out for you. And he says, the only reason I recognize this is because I've seen them before when I was in Turkey. And, I mean, I may have misidentified, but please, either confirm or prove me wrong. It would be much easier to explain what's happening here if this wasn't.
I've spent a considerable amount of time in Turkey. It's probably the reason why I was asked to come here. But basically, I just start getting to work with, like, spreading out the whatever traces that you have out and trying to, I'm like, this is not my area of expertise. Anyone have? I mean, I don't have botany, and I don't have, any type of. I mean, chemistry is my science. That's all I got.
I've got biology.
That's
That would
probably
be
closer.
helpful.
Yeah.
Seems helpful.
Yeah. It seems at least tangential to what we're doing.
Yeah, I got biology. I don't really have, like, zoology.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that'd probably be like at a half, right?
Yeah, probably.
all right. Big money. Come on, 20.
I have jump.
That's,
How is that a... Oh,
64.
yeah.
I mean, or a 44. It kind of landed on the corner.
Either way is not below a 20.
Yeah.
So.
True.
So, no, I'm not very successful.
Right.
Like,
So,
well, this looks similar.
Would this be like something that I've seen or heard of?
Possibly.
During my time in Turkey.
Possibly.
Do you want me to just maybe like make an int?
You may have caught one and eaten one when you're in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and make it. Make like a
I'm just trying to see if I have anything that.
make a spot hidden at half.
You got it.
Ooh.
At half, no, it's a 56.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you're not. It's not your field of expertise.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks very similar. There's a lot of. It has the right number of legs, and the antenna look like they're the right shape, and all of the stuff.
It is very locusty.
I believe
Yeah.
that is called a thorax.
See, both specimens have thoraxes.
Clear evidence that they must be the same.
Can I roll like natural world?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to try. Because maybe I've seen these on my adventures somewhere. 56. No.
Odd. The exact same percentage roll as the
Yeah.
last roll.
Creepy. Close. I have 50 in it, so. But.
Ooh.
Well, that was very close.
I suppose you could try to push it.
Oh, yeah.
You could push.
How do I push?
You you give me a reason why a justification for the second roll, and if you fail it, it's a bad
Oh,
failure.
good. That sounds like a thing I like.
But you could also use luck points
Yes, you can always use luck
because
points
you were
to
at
buy it.
56.
What's your skill at?
50.
Oh, you can just spend 6 luck points and hit it.
No.
That seems like a lot of
I
luck
feel like
points
I
to
want
spend for
to
this.
wait
Yeah.
to use those. I'm going to try the rolling though.
You can try to push
All
it.
right, yeah.
Push it real
Lucky,
good.
lucky.
I was trying not to say that. So
I'm
hard.
sorry.
No, somebody had to.
I don't have percentile die in that set. What the hell? They have to match. Okay, let me try these ones. Can't roll non-matching dice.
Give me a woman after my own heart.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, they do.
Scientifically, they roll better.
They're happier
So
together.
my justification for this will be, like, what do you like? Trying again, like with my character, like, or
Well,
just
you-
like
no,
why I might know this.
Your
after
effort
all.
is like above and beyond what you were trying before.
And also, if you have another angle of attack, if you were trying to look for one specific thing and then go, but I can also look for this, and maybe it might give me better odds.
Got
That's the
it,
way I read
okay.
the rule too.
So she's gonna have looked at it. I'm gonna steal the idea you gave to Jim earlier, and she's gonna misidentify it. Then she's gonna break off part of it and like bite it,
Okay.
and then oh no, I remember this taste from when I survived in that time.
Okay, that's kind of badass.
All
I
right.
love this.
Yeah, we'll see. What is that?
Yeah, it looks like a
20
Oh,
29.
22.
22.
totally
Okay.
made
So
All
I
right.
definitely made it
So
that time.
crunch,
Oh.
checking the guts inside.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm like, I get my handkerchief out.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
you're like, yeah, this is, you got it. This right on. This
Yeah.
is a
Definitely.
African. This is definitely an African locust.
I had a whole meal of these once. They're not as bad as they look, although they're better cooked.
I'll take your word for it.
With a little bit of salt and lemon.
I mean, we didn't have salt or lemon.
Just mix them in the couscous.
So,
They're just crunchier. It's a texture thing.
Extra thing.
All right. So, and then you basically confirm his identification, which makes him happy.
Yeah.
Do you have any working theories as to how this species ended up here?
Well, he points to the map, and you can see where he's like drawn, and he has sections that he has like cross-hatched one way, and then another section that's cross-hatched the other way. And he says that it started just a little bit east of here, and you can see the pattern day by day, because it's been going on for 3 days. Day by day, as they've moved. The strange thing is, the next town over is Rothsville. Zero infestation, but they seem to be traveling in a westerly direction. But when we went to the next town east, which also is primarily farmland, none, zero infestations.
Did they grow different crops or something?
I mean, there's some variance, but I mean, they're growing much of the same things as well. I mean, they're growing corn and they're growing wheat, and
Has there been a prevalence of strong wind blowing in that direction? Perhaps they're just simply following the wind stream.
not that I've noted. The winds have shifted, obviously, because you're sitting in this warehouse and it's smoky as hell, and well, there certainly hasn't been strong winds, no. and in the easternmost area that was affected, we were looking to find sources of nesting, and we have not been able to find them, because there would be I don't egg pods or something, right? I don't know what locusts use, but like I'm sure they have egg sacs like most beetles.
I was going to ask a question, but I'm going to research that on my own and not ask it. Let's see. This is very odd behavior for these insects. You know, why would they be drawn in one direction or to one particular area like this? They usually simply just spread and swarm in every which way they can, as long as there's food available. At least that's what I know of it. And I have to say, I am a layman in this.
You're doing fine.
Well, you're just simply trying to apply logic. So,
Well, have you been out to the area where they seem to have begun? Is there any evidence of how they started?
Well, that's like I said. The easternmost fields that were affected, we expected to find some sort of evidence of them having nested and procreated, and
Nothing there.
we're not seeing that sort of evidence.
have you looked for anyone that may have recently traveled to Africa in the area that may have brought these insects here? It's unlikely that they've traveled across an entire ocean. It smells of human intervention, of course.
Oh, certainly, and I mean, but we would, if they had migrated here, they would have destroyed crops elsewhere, and this hasn't happened yet. But the people I've asked, no. I mean, certainly here in this town, this is an Amish settlement. They're not world travelers, but to a farther extent, I haven't really been able to talk to anyone about anything of that sort. But I've asked around, and apparently not.
What do the locals say
might
about
suck.
it? Oh, sorry.
Or it's
It's not on you.
Not on you.
Sorry, I got wine. What do the locals say about it? Do they have any explanation or superstition about it?
I would say a highly religious group like this with a plague of locusts would be somewhat sensitive.
Well,
I would think so.
Elder Fisher is sort of convinced that it is the worldliness of the younger generation that has brought this about, and
And the women misbehaving, right?
possibly. He's mostly been blaming the youth.
Well,
Well, he's hardly alone in that kind of condemnation, I suppose.
If you'd like to speak with him, I don't know if there was any use in doing so, but if you would like to speak with him, I've fostered a somewhat tentative relationship with him. And
Is he at all a rational man?
Right now, I mean, no. I mean, and these people, their livelihoods have been decimated.
well, I mean, when I've been traveling the world before, I have met with many different native peoples in many countries, and often there is great wisdom in their legends and what they believe, and often more truth than in, what scientists, beg the exception of you, fine educated folk, believe. So there may be some knowledge in what the people who live here think and say that maybe.
I agree with you totally. Perhaps you have misunderstood me. It's not that I wanted to scout him off road. I would rather have someone perhaps like you speak to him versus myself.
Yes, send the woman in pants to talk to him. That's a very good plan.
Being a non-Christian and being a man of science, we would have very little common ground to speak upon. Perhaps you, good professor, might be able to broach the
I
subject.
can certainly attempt. Perhaps there's some new folks that have moved into the area. When I talk to them, I'll ask.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it seems more likely that it would be a newcomer
Yeah.
than a longtime resident having traveled to Africa to bring back swarms of locusts.
Well, truth can simply be up for interpretation in many ways. What we need to do is find the facts and see what we can do. But without being able to question these people, we will never find those facts.
And to have the assistance of someone who knows the people and knows the area could prove helpful.
Have you spoken to anyone here that might be perhaps have a higher proclivity to be helpful in the way that we would appreciate? maybe some of these youngsters in which he is condemning might know something.
I have not seen any of the children about. They're probably being kept at home. And everyone is extremely busy trying to contain this.
And I'm also ignorant of the way these people work. Do they have a clergy? Or is...
They have elders.
Whose land was the first to be struck? Do we know?
He shows you on the map. And he
Okay.
tells you it's the...
Sure. Well, we have a timeout in the narrative for that. I have an actual out of RP question. How are we going to address the issue of race, sex, so on and so forth? Are we actually going to go on to sort of the more hard line that it makes it much more difficult for us and those prejudices are actually exist? Or do we want to be a little bit more glossy over that? I just want to establish that sort of...
I'm much cooler glossing over it.
Okay.
For one, I would prefer not to portray racist NPCs if I don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I will.
I mean, I just want to
if
know
it's
which
necessary.
direction you want. I'm good with it either way. I just want to role play appropriately toward
Right.
the way that you want to do it. I'm totally cool.
I think it makes sense with like the Amish though, since this is something that they still actively believe, like a woman's position,
Yeah,
yeah.
and stuff like that. That's part of like their actual belief
right.
system more
Yeah.
than.
We are so fish out of water in this situation, so hardcore for multiple reasons. So I just want to know how much of a complication we were going to make that as in an RP sense, and how much we were just going to concentrate on the investigation part of the thing.
Right.
But cool. Question answered. I'm good.
I like fighting the man. It's fine.
Everyone's shocked.
This
Yeah,
is my
everyone's
shocked face.
All right. So it was the Jordan farm was the first farm where they showed up. It showed up there like 3 days ago, early in the morning, and had spread. He shows you like it started here. They got the first reports of it here, and then it spread out to this area during that same day, and then he shows you the progression as well.
How massive an infestation are we talking about here, too? Are we talking about, it took them, it was a fairly small swarm that actually took them a while to go through the fields, or are we talking something massive?
It's massive.
Something that blocked out the sun type of infestation?
It was massive. I mean, the farmlands that were destroyed on the first day were probably somewhere around, I don't know, 50 to 100,000 acres.
Oh, crap.
Big.
Okay.
It was big.
Wow.
No, because I've seen pictures of these Egyptian locust plague, right? Actually, Mediterranean locust plagues that you see over in the east, like in Turkey, and they're freaking huge and scary.
Oh yeah, and they will.
Gigantic.
Yeah, the sun. It's almost like an eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it literally blots out the sun. It's like scary. Okay, cool. So this is no joke. Have any government officials come in to investigate? I mean, the Department of the Interior would likely be.
Well, that's why
Involved.
Dr. Anastas is here. He was sent by the state agriculture board. Or
Okay.
Whatever.
So he is acting under a governmental authority,
Yes.
which is cool. I just want to know whether it's like we're the university and we're curious and we're just doing research, or whether we were actually endowed by someone with some authority to do something about this.
Yeah, you have. At this point, you have some authority through him.
Do we know what kind of measures? Like, I mean, do we have like? I mean, I know that we have biplanes, we have some airplanes. Do we do crop dusting at this point in time? Is there
I don't think so.
some kind of insecticide diehickey, or is it just like
It's a proper scientific term.
diehickey? Yeah.
There is some crop dusting, but you know what? Probably not in Amish land.
I was about to say, are the Amish crop dusting?
It's one of those things that if it's threatening a large swath of agriculture, the government would go, well, tough. This is what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's probably why the burnings are happening, because they're not just burning infested fields; they're burning fields adjacent to infested fields.
To basically, you have nothing to eat, just starve to death and die.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says that agricultural aircraft began in the 1920s. Doesn't give a specific date though, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Fascinating.
So we're probably like just starting then. Like
Yeah, it's probably
it's like
probably like in the breadbasket area of the United States, they're experimenting with it just because that's probably likely. Actually, they might be doing a lot of it in Europe and France. A lot of this research is that the United States was still relatively rural at this point. Well, why don't we just go out and start looking around in the area where this started? Just
Okay.
I think talking to the Jordan family might be
Yeah.
useful.
So, everybody in agreement? We just head out there and see if we can have a look, see, and talk to who we can talk to.
Sounds delightful.
Okay.
Would you mind bringing your camera? I see that you've packed it. We might want to take some images of things that we find.
Cool. No problem. I'll go back and grab it, and then we can head out.
I shall join you. It might be of assistance to bring my watercolor set as well.
So I grabbed some notebooks and some pens and stuff.
Okay.
And actually, I also gathered like a canteen and a couple of supplies because I'm trying to look all sporty.
Okay.
Trying to impress
I'm trying to
Miss
look.
Davies.
I guess
Davies?
Actually,
Daniels.
Miss Daniels. I'm
My
trying to
bad.
not look incompetent. Is actually what he's trying to do.
Are you guys driving or walking?
How far are we talking?
Yeah, a few miles.
Then yeah, I think we should probably drive just for brevity's sake.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
And actually, we're carrying equipment and stuff too. So yeah, who wants to carry? Cameras
I mean,
are actually kind of big at that point. Who wants to
It's
carry
massive,
all that crap?
yeah.
30 pounds of camera.
Yeah.
It's like over her shoulder with the tripod thing.
No, did they use a
The flash
Flashbulb?
powder.
a lens? Is it the thing where you uncover it, or is this the one where you?
Oh, no, you have the
click?
clicky thing,
They have a
yeah.
clicky. Okay. Can't remember what that's called.
Cable release.
But I feel like you still had to be there for a minute. Like it takes a minute.
No.
No?
I don't think so.
The 20s, I mean, you're getting into Ansel Adams territory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
Remember,
true, that's
photography was towards the end of the
It's-
1800s. Was actually fairly well developed.
Yeah, it's the question is if you're talking about do you
There's-
have like a full format
I mean,
like
there are
4x5
photographs of
camera
Lincoln.
where the negatives were literally 4 inches by 5 inches, like slide it into the thing can show.
There's pretty good quality photos that come out of the Civil War.
Yeah, there are a lot of them.
They had 35 millimeter cameras as early as 1905.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why I was asking what kind of camera
Yeah.
we're talking. Because, 35 millimeters is much more portable.
Right.
it seems like you would want to have the latest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably have whatever is the newest, latest, and greatest.
The Galaxy S -1000. Okay, so drive out there. Who wants to weed around the bushes, and who wants to talk to the farmers?
I will weed around the bushes.
I will join you.
I will happily talk to farmers.
Okay.
Then I suppose that I will join you.
Very good. Here is the recommended camera from the chat.
Ooh, I like that very much. It's pretty. It's like wooden. It almost looks like an old telephone box more than
Much
a camera.
wood and brass.
Yes, beautiful.
Does it have one of those little accordion things where they push
No.
out?
It doesn't. Yeah, it's like past that.
It's all a lensed thing
Yeah.
in front.
Oh, super new. I like the little accordion things.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so who
You
goes
make
first?
you make it out there, and it's there's a small farmhouse. Might be like 800 square feet, single story, very simple. The fields around it looks like they cut a lot of the crops around the house down,
So
And-
the
and
fire
then-
didn't rage right up to their house.
right up to the house. But this part of it looks like bombs went off. I mean,
It's
it's
desolation.
black. and you can see that there's a man out there, probably in his middle-aged man out there working, and there's a couple children hauling water from a well into the house. But I mean, at this point, the farms, this land isn't even like smoldering. It's
This
Yeah,
has
this is
been a
what-
while.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's been
The
3
first
days,
place, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they would have burned it as soon as they could cut down a fire break around it.
right.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna basically just start from the outside, working in, and sort of look. If are there woods adjacent to this, or is there any? kind of
There's sort of some thick woods to the east of the, because he's like basically butted up right against this forested area, and then the road that goes to the next town kind of just cuts through it.
I'm going to go under the assumption that in order for something like this to sort of surprise them, they probably came from a direction that was either undercover or not often observed. So I'm going to start at the woods
Okay.
area
All right.
and start looking around over there.
Okay. Is anyone with him?
I am.
She is.
Okay. And you guys are talking to the.
We'll go talk to the farmer
Okay.
and his family.
All right. So he sees you drive up, like looking at you.
Well, are we letting you guys off before we get here?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I stop
Right.
and go through all of the motions of turning off the car, all of that. But get out and like immediate eye contact with the farmer,
Okay.
and give him sort of a cheerful wave and start walking his direction.
He kind of nods to you as you walk up. He walks up to you.
Well, terribly sorry to see that this has happened out here. We've heard from one of our colleagues in town that's trying to figure out how this infestation began and what we can do to help.
Oh, it hit us in the middle of the night. I would say 3 hours before dawn, and we heard him. We heard him first. It sounded like a windstorm. My son woke me up, and we came out, and the sky was filled with them. They were everywhere. And then I sent my oldest boy into town to get some help, and by the time they were able to get out here, and we set everything ablaze, but it had already spread onto the next two farms over.
What direction in the sky did you first see them?
Oh, they were heading from the east.
From the east. So is
Yes.
that from where the woods are, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Had you seen any newcomers out here? Anything unusual in the last few days before?
Well, we heard a motor car. Early that evening, the night before, because they do make quite a racket,
They can.
and I saw it, and it was it had drove up and it sort of stopped on the road over there by the well. I figured they needed water, and it was very dark. I couldn't really see much, and I would say a few hours later, I was woken again when they started the infernal engine and drove off.
So they were there for a few hours.
I believe so. Yes.
Interesting.
Hmm.
And this happened from the time that they left to the time that you encountered the locust. How long was that?
Oh, I would imagine hour, 2 hours, perhaps. I would say I heard the motor around along midnight, and I would say Perhaps 2 hours before dawn is when the locust came. At least that's when the noise was loud enough to wake us.
That's an early start, even for a farm.
Indeed. I'm usually up an hour before dawn to get to the cows.
Do you and your family out here have enough to get by with this?
We have some stores, but what we're really going to need is seed.
No, indeed.
I mean, we can make it through winter with what we have here, but
Next year for planting.
No, because it is planting season. These are all new crops, so.
Indeed.
And the window is closing rapidly
Yes, it is.
to get anything in the ground.
Well, do you happen to know where, and I'm sorry, I forgot his name, the Elder
Isaiah Fisher.
Fisher.
Elder Fisher, yeah.
Where Elder Fisher lives out this way? We were told that we could talk to him as well. He might.
Oh, his farm is out back the way you came, on the south side of the road, just before the main town.
Oh, okay.
But he's been out helping farmers get their fields burnt. He's sort of heading the effort to try to end this.
Oh, sure.
So you may not find him at his farm for quite some time.
Well, I'll keep looking. But thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course.
No, but thank you so much for your time.
Of course. We're about to sit down for dinner if you'd like to join us.
We couldn't possibly impose, but your hospitality is so appreciated.
Very well. Well, have a good day.
So we're looking out by the forest, right?
Yeah.
You guys are in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go to the well?
Yeah, well, we'll head over that way.
Okay, so you guys are walking to the well. You guys in the forest. You guys find there's a clearing kind of a ways in. It's pretty deep. It's probably, well, you don't really know how deep it is, but you walk for at least 100 yards inside this, and it's pretty thick. And you get to a clearing, and it looks like this clearing is natural. There's not like tree stumps or anything like that, or felled trees around it. It looks just like this. There's an area that nothing's growing. And it's pretty large. It's probably about maybe 50, 60 feet in diameter, roughly. And there is some stones that have been set up. They look like they might be made of granite, something like that. And they are sort of arranged. They're blocks. They stand about maybe 18 inches tall, and they're maybe a foot by a foot. And they're sort of marked out. Draw it over. Oh, thank you.
Jeff Dave on the ball with all the stuff.
Tell you, man. We're rocking with preparedness in this game.
Yeah.
It's that, like, start of the school year syndrome.
Yeah.
Sort of a V or an inverted V, depending where you're looking at it from, and there is a pit, sort of centered near the middle of that inverted V.
It's like kind of looks like a flock of geese with a thing in the middle of them. Okay.
Where is, if this were to be an arrow pointing in a direction, where would it be pointing?
It is pointed west.
So it's basically in the direction of travel of the locust swarm.
Oh. This is why I didn't make a smart character for this game. That way I'm a character.
Well, having a dumb character in this game is actually good for you when you start failing sanity rolls.
Yeah.
Because you definitely
That was
don't
why
want
I did it.
to. You definitely don't want to make your intelligence rolls on
Right.
this.
You don't want to realize the horror. You really don't. Ignorance is bliss in this whole
Yes.
situation.
Yeah.
But do I know of any... can I attempt to assess how old this structure is?
Make a spot hidden roll.
It wouldn't be an archaeology roll?
Oh.
Archaeology's old. Well, it depends. I mean,
Depends
make an
on how old
archaeology
it
roll.
is.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's see, ooh.
How old is old?
Yep.
You made it?
Yep.
Less than 5 centuries old. No, it looks very recent.
Looks recent.
I mean,
Okay.
there are like footprints around, and
Well, yeah, I'm just basically judging by how this, if it was cut with metal tools, or if it was, just trying to.
it looks there's what it was cut with. It's cut a little hard to tell. There's almost no weathering on it whatsoever.
Okay.
So and there's literally footprints, fresh footprints around here.
And I'm like, would you mind taking photos of the footprints and this structure?
Sure.
I'm going
no
to take
problem.
some samples. I'm going to look in the pit. Is it a deep
It's
pit?
deep. It is deep. You can't see the bottom.
Oh,
Okay.
I was thinking like a fire pit, like a pit.
No,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
pit.
Huh.
I'm going to pause you guys for a second. So you guys get to the well. What do you can see, there are tire tracks there. You can see there are tire tracks and footprints around it.
What kind of tires?
Oh,
Like
Like,
multiple sets, or I mean,
looks like one set.
Yeah, posit traction.
Uh,
I don't need like a specific. I'm not looking for like the actual
Brand
like
name?
brand. Okay, well, what was the inflation percent? No, I don't need the PSI rating for those tires or anything. But like,
I mean, knowing
Could
what
I-
kind of car it is, it might be super
yeah,
helpful.
could I identify what type of car might have left these?
maybe. Hold on one second.
If we can get some plaster, we could take a cast of those, and maybe have somebody more educated in that find out for us too.
how dare you?
We have an automobile.
We're not there.
Is there automobile skill?
There's drive auto.
There's drive auto.
There's not really like knowledge.
There's a
auto.
mechanics skill.
Yeah.
Mechanics
There's
repair
mechanical repair. Yeah.
is the closest thing
That's
I
probably
can see on here.
that's
I
probably
feel like, though, like, I mean, I know a ton of people who know a ton about different styles of cars, but don't know how to fix. I guess,
That's
though,
true.
that's specific, though, to a tire. Okay, that makes more sense. You're right. Sorry, I tried to help Dave.
No. I mean, that's why I'm kind of like I'm asking from the hobbyist perspective.
I get it. Well, here's what we'll do. Either drive automobile or mechanics at half, or spot hidden at 1/5.
Well, it looks like it's going to be drive auto at half then.
Okay.
I believe in you.
66.
Yeah, 66 is not half.
Okay. All right.
Would have resulted in some kind of accident.
Right.
So when you say at half, it's so you drop your your
just go to
okay.
half. Yeah. Because that's a real obscure
Yeah.
thing.
For sure. Yeah, but
Like-
it was worth a try.
Trying to figure out what kind of car it is by the tire track.
Well, now it's more difficult, but there weren't as many.
That's true. Well, you do know it looks it's probably a slightly older car.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how many different models of car can be out right now? I mean, well,
They would
yeah.
definitely have different types of tires, though.
Sure.
Right. But
Everyone's
yeah,
probably making the stuff themselves at
right.
this point.
It's all fairly proprietary because there aren't generic auto parts.
Right.
does it look like it had double wheels for in the back, like truck style?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't even know if that's a thing. Internet, sorry.
And even like the footprints around it,
dualies
you
back
can
there?
tell that it was a car that roughly about the size of yours. Your car can hold probably seat 6.
Yeah, 6 comfortably.
Looks like it was about a similar size.
Okay.
And how many different sets of footprints does it look like there are?
Make a spot hidden roll.
Okie dokie. That's a 3.
Oh,
Boom. There were 7 people.
You are used to watching those kids in that library, man.
Got my eye on you.
Yeah, the teacher eye.
Yeah. It is a superpower.
5 men and 2 women.
But with a 3, yeah, just give
Yeah.
it to her, right?
One of them was slightly overweight. One of them had a slight limp, probably from World War I, an injury.
This one walks on the outside of his left foot.
Right.
One of them was eating beef jerky.
How can you tell? There's a beef jerky container next to these footprints.
That one was easy.
It would appear there were 7 people here. 5 men, 2 women.
Oh my, very good.
It's
And it looks like they walked into the forest. It looks like they kind of stopped at the well and then...
And they did not just stay in for a momentary rest. They traveled into the woods.
Well, it seems like the woods might be the source of something.
Or at least the, possibly a place of origin for something. I mean, I can't help but wonder, like, how these people would have been connected to our current situation. However, it is odd. I mean, how
Unusual
often
enough
do
that they'd be
7
out here at
people
midnight.
travel in an odd together and then stop in such a remote location with apparently no cause?
And then I'll hop out of the car and go for a midnight stroll.
And then leave once again hours later in the middle of the night without even attempting to find an inn or a stopover.
Or if it was some kind of emergency, knock on the farmer's door 100 yards up the road.
True. Though I didn't see any indication in the footprints, obviously, of an emergency situation. Does it look like the tire tracks are normal, or the car may
Yeah.
have been in some difficulty?
No.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's hard to tell the condition of the car, but from what the farmer told you, it pulled up, stopped, and then hours later it started back up again and left.
But there's
You
no,
don't see a bunch of footprints around the car because, like, they were working on it or something.
Yeah,
Like that. You don't see anything like that.
Okay, well, it would seem to... This is quite interesting. It would seem that we would need to go follow our footprints into the woods.
oh,
Though I might... I have heard that it is possible to pull footprints. I say heard. I read once in a journal.
I understand.
When I say friends, I mean the authors of the books that I have read.
That it might be possible to pull plaster likenesses of footprints.
Do you have the materials for such?
I do not own, obviously, I have not carried plaster with me on our journey, but it's something that is used sometimes, I understand, in repair of walls.
Perhaps back at the
So-
general store we could get some.
Or it's even possible that the farmer would have some on hand.
It's a low possibility, but it is
Stu's
possible.
making
Might.
a thoughtful face.
You want to go ask him?
I am not going to ask him.
Or does someone want to go ask him?
I can go ask him. That's
Okay.
fine.
Make a luck roll. That's the best part, the best skill ever.
That's great for a GM.
Yeah.
Does this exist? I don't know. You tell me.
Roll
Bye.
luck.
That's
No.
78.
78. No.
No, he does not have plaster walls in his house.
He's like, what do I look like? I mean, plaster walls?
Who's got that kind of money?
Right.
Just thought I'd ask. Thank you again. Yeah. So no luck.
Oh, well, you
afraid.
never know. General store it is.
You guys gonna head to the general store?
Well, I think we should find our friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rather
gonna
than
leave
abandon them.
You guys hear the
We're
car
outside
start?
the woods. Well, it's great. Hey, where's the car?
2-hour walk back to town.
Okay. So I'm
Son
gonna,
of a bitch.
I'm gonna
It's
cut
like
back
4
to
miles. It's not that.
It's not that bad.
Not really.
I'm gonna cut back to you guys now.
Okay.
Okay.
So you look down the pit, and the pit, you can't see the bottom. It's deep. I mean, it's late afternoon at this point. The sun's getting kind of low in the sky.
I am going to take a piece of my handkerchief, rip off a little piece, and I'm going to take out the my lighter and dip it in a little bit of the fuel, or try to take some, because I have one of those Zippo type style.
Okay, right. Lighter fluid.
Lighter fluid. And I'm going to wrap it around a stick, light it ablaze. And
Basically like a mini torch?
Like a mini torch, and just throw it down and see
Okay.
if I can see how far the light goes.
You watch it. It falls quite a ways, and then it kind of sort of hits and tumbles. So it looks like it goes down for a ways and then sort of curves slightly.
How many
So you-
seconds did it fall?
Oh, it probably fell for a couple seconds.
Have I ever heard of a situation where insects lay dormant or hibernate over a long period of time under certain situations and
Sure.
are then reanimated?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, it happens. I just want to know whether you think I'm going to go under that assumption, and that's a working theory.
Okay.
I tell Doris, this pit goes very deep. I wonder if someone was digging, perhaps maybe for a well of some sort, and then maybe unlock some sort of dormant hive. Insects have been known to be able to lay dormant for long periods of time in hibernation under certain conditions.
Like how new? Like you said, it looked new, like new by archaeological standards.
I was being facetious.
Okay.
There's zero weathering on it. It's hard to tell if it was done in the last week or in the last year.
Well, there's a lot of earth that would have to have been displaced.
Yes,
for
there's no piles of earth around here. that you can
So,
see.
okay. So either they carried that off somewhere, or this happened a while ago where erosion actually took
Yeah,
care
I'm
of
gonna
that dirt.
roll like a nature, whatever that one was.
Sure.
Natural world.
Okay.
To be like there's worms and stuff. Like this pit's been here for a while. Like there's.
Oh, yeah.
You
Are there
can
any
see, like, there's
fresh
stuff
roots coming out,
yeah.
or is it just freshly cut?
There are fresh roots.
Okay, so it's been there long enough for stuff to grow through there, or do you mean fresh roots by like they've cut through them? It's new.
Like hanging out.
Oh, okay. I can't read those dice.
That is a 10 and a 6, so a 16.
16, yes, that definitely 16.
And what is your question?
Like I'm just gonna try and judge. Like, you like
How long
if
the
it had
hole's
been,
been open?
yeah, if it's been there since the locust attack, like you'd be able to tell it's a very new thing.
Yeah, it does look fairly recent.
Okay. That might be what happened. It's still strange for them to be in this location, and it's I don't know. It seems like someone would have said something.
And also in the construction of these stones. Now, are these stones laid out mathematically? I'm trying to just basically make measurements between the distances of them. Is it something that's precise, or something that was just laid out in a pattern, but a little bit somewhat haphazardly?
Make a spot hidden roll. Again.
Sure. 43, I believe that's a success. Yes.
They are laid out very precisely.
Oh no, it's failing. Sorry,
Oh, it
I have
is,
a
okay.
35 in that, not a 45.
Okay.
Never mind.
They look like they're laid out fairly
In a V
regularly.
shape.
In a V shape.
And like they line up.
I mean,
You go to one, 3 rocks down, it lines up exactly with the sides of the.
No,
one across from
basically,
it.
I remove my belt and I go, this stone is this distance from this one.
Right.
I move on to the other one. Is it exactly same distance or
Yes,
slightly
they are.
off? Okay. So somebody did this with some purpose. It wasn't just like they were like using this to be cornerstones for some kind of fence or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird.
I haven't seen anything like this in my experiences of the Americas, at least not in North America. There's some similar things that I've seen in the ruins in Central and South America of geometrical structures like this, but nothing.
been to Central America. That's fascinating. One of these days we'll have to have a conversation about that.
Yes, I'm happy to talk about it, but like I said, nothing quite this
Yeah.
rudimentary.
Is this stone a type of stone that would be commonly found in this area?
Yeah, it's a pretty common granite, whether it's right around here or not.
I'm going to take a sample.
Okay, all right. Chip off a piece of
I
it.
chip off a piece, put it in a little jar. I'm certain I have sample thingies because that's
Sure.
core to what we're doing.
I'm going to say around this time, you guys arrive at the square.
Yeah, and Doris, from your expert perspective, do you think that it would be, how difficult do you think it would be to climb down this pit, and what kind of equipment do you think we would need to have to do so?
Well, you definitely need a rope or a grappling hook. The clearing's been cleared of, or never had, trees to anchor yourself to. You might be able to anchor yourself to one of those rocks. How big are the rocks?
They're about 18 inches high, and they're just setting on the ground. They wouldn't make.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
you
they're not-
You'd need something more.
They're not
So
a
it's
good
not
anchor.
like standing stones or something. Okay, sorry, I was kind of picturing sort of a Stonehenge
But we
type
can
thing.
set up some pitons
Yeah.
around as well. Okay.
I mean, I can try if you like, but I don't know.
Not at this hour. It's starting to darken.
So
and I would.
you guys, they arrive. You guys
We got there. Did we follow the trail in, or did we?
Yes, this is you were following the tracks
footprints.
as well as you can see them. Once it got into the forest itself, because of all of the underbrush and crap that sits on the forest floor, you couldn't really see them anymore. But
But it was
it's
still 7 people.
yeah, it was yeah, and I mean broken twigs and stuff, and you sort of followed it as best you could, and it led you right to where this clearing is.
We're already standing there and we're
Well,
having a conversation.
that is. My goodness.
It's a bit
This
bizarre.
gets curiouser and curiouser.
Indeed. Oh, I didn't expect to see you here. Did you have any success in your conversation?
We did. We found out that there were some other visitors to these woods the night before the locusts arrived.
Aha, we have found the foreign element. And we have discovered this structure?
Yes, it would appear that 7 unknown persons stopped here for several hours just before the locust swarm began.
That's bizarre.
Within the evening.
Well, we've discovered this, and that from everything we can discern. And actually, I've been very careful not to disturb them. There are footprints all around this area. Perhaps maybe you might discern whether it's the same group
Well,
of
it
people.
would appear that it is the same. They belong to the same people who led us to this location because we followed the trail to here.
Well, I got some photographs of the prints, so
Lovely. I was hoping that we might be able to get some plaster casts of them as well. I had read about it in an academic journal not long ago.
Yeah,
It's
bad
rather a new
idea.
method. But we would need to return on the morrow to do so. The general store might have the plaster that we need.
There are other materials that we could probably find too. If we can simply find some gypsum and some water and some gum, we'd be able to make our own.
I think if we head back to town, we should start asking around about this. I mean, maybe this is a local curiosity or some prank set up by kids.
It doesn't seem like the kind of neighborhood to have a motor car.
It also seems like the amount of attention that I get having driven into town, people might have noticed others driving through.
So one would think it's like this drop is what, 20 meters down, 30 meters down,
Can I roll?
Probably about 20.
20 meters?
Okay.
But then it curves.
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
this pit has been dug, and from what I understand, Doris tells me somewhat recently, it leads at least 20 meters down to a curve.
Oh.
And I find it also odd to inspect that the arrow formation of these stones points westward, which is also indicative of the direction of the locust swarm travel.
Though, I mean, what would that have to do with anything?
That is still a mystery, but still, it's yet a commonality that deserves investigation. But the theory that I had that perhaps whoever dug this, found some kind of dormant colony of insects that have been sitting there for quite some time, waiting to be uncovered. But if we find no nesting area in the around this place, we might be able to uncover it there. Although unlikely, it's still the only unknown area that we have yet to explore here.
The thing that I'm curious about is why our colleague, the good doctor in town, didn't find any of these things.
That's what I was wondering as
Because
well.
it's not like we've really been out here struggling to locate these clues.
It seems like he would have already possibly gone down, or at least made note of a pit. And
They said he'd already spoken to the farmer, correct?
Indeed, and that they've been out here and not found any evidence of...
Or for the farmer to not communicate the eccentric situation of a motor car simply stopping in front of his house.
he did not volunteer that information at first to us. It was only when the doctor asked about anything else unusual happening in the evening.
Well,
It's not something that you would necessarily, I think, correlate.
He might not have made that connection, but I still can't imagine that someone investigating a mysterious outbreak of insects wouldn't ask about anything else weird or strange.
Following up on a motor car, though, that seems pretty unrelated. And present company excluded, scientists can be a bit over-focused on their areas of expertise. If he lacks bugs, maybe he just didn't think that, hey, maybe the car had something to do with it.
I would only simply assume that that a scientist would simply practice the basics of the scientific method and try to gather as much information as they can before trying to reach any conclusions. I just find it odd, and I'm certain it merits asking once we return to town. But it is beginning to get dark, and I do not wish to be caught out in the wilderness alone, just the four of us in that situation. So perhaps we should return?
Doris kind of smirks at him calling this the wilderness. Not like rudely or noticeably, but just like, aw.
Well, I am adorable that way. I am a city
Yeah.
boy. City. Actually, no, he's actually been out.
Yeah.
He's done archaeological digs and stuff, but that's been mostly in the desert.
Not me.
I very much would appreciate a return to town before full dark sets in. It's rather unnerving to have such a dark pit at your feet when it's so dusky out.
Well, I've taken a sample of the granite just to see if we could identify where it was quarried from, and that might answer some questions as to the origin of these people, assuming that they brought these stones with them. But I don't understand the purpose of it. It's
No.
It's maddening.
And you said, Stu, that there's no pile of excavated earth.
That is correct.
That's also odd.
Extremely
if someone
odd.
had dug a 20-meter hole, that's a lot of earth to move.
And I didn't see a bunch of tracks leading back out from here.
And I would doubt that 7 people would be able to dig a 20-meter pit that extends further
In
to the
just a
side
few
in just a
hours.
few hours.
And remove their dirt.
And remove the dirt and set up these blocks.
The thing that bothers me the most is that the whole curves. Like I've dug my share of holes for shelter and things like that. It takes some doing to make a whole curve.
The only time I've seen a situation like that is in the excavation of a tomb.
Yes.
Do you think it might be a tunnel of some sort down there?
It could be many things. I am under the assumption that there is some kind of tunnel, or perhaps there is some other open or dugout area that necessitates the curve that we see. So that's why I am anxious to investigate down there tomorrow morning as soon as we can.
Very good.
Perhaps we can also talk to the locals about if there's any natural caverns in the area.
Indeed, but man, I should have taken geology instead of chemistry.
It's so much more fun this way.
It's the best this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it seems like we have quite a bit to go off of for the morrow. But once again, I would just feel so much more at ease if we had these discussions back at the inn
I agree.
over a nice cup of tea.
not only that, perhaps some of these questions might be best answered by other members in the university. Maybe we can send some wires as to whether this area is an area that's geologically known for having caverns, and also if anyone else knows of anything that's similar to this type of stone formation and why it would be used. It baffles me, and I've studied just about every ancient culture you can that's currently known.
Yes, well, the weirdest and strangest of all animals is man. So, who knows what local superstitions perhaps have led to the building of this place.
Well, this place is a powder keg for that, and I would hate to elicit any kind of witch hunt just by the mentioning of certain activities around here.
Indeed.
So
They
I think that we need
already
to
are quite enamored of fire.
we should be very careful as to who we speak to and what we mention, especially around the locals. Well, let's get on our way.
Yes.
I start picking up my tools and stuff.
Okay.
We head out. I make sure I take pictures of the footprints, but also like the stones and the stuff.
Okay.
Could I
All
take
right.
a couple of sketches too? Just like quickly sketch in, like, so I could get relative size and stuff, since I brought my stuff with me, like my drawing stuff. Just as a handy reference, like, that we can refer to before your stuff gets developed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I'm assuming
0, 1, 0, 1,
stuff.
2 numbers. Secured bathroom.
Yeah.
It is. And now the entire internet can use your bathroom. I
Patrons
love
only.
Right.
Stu had a big problem with people coming in here and role playing and needing to use the restroom and not buying anything.
it. Like, I'm sorry if you paid your dues. But yeah, just like, I'm assuming it takes some time to develop your stuff, and
Yeah.
and it
I
won't
probably wouldn't even be
necessarily
able to do it here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do some
you
like
brought your supplies.
just basic sketches.
Okay.
And like,
Can we say that I brought
all that kind of
supplies?
stuff?
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk.
No, you go ahead.
Can we say that I brought my development stuff?
You probably wouldn't bring it out
Okay.
because you need a dark room.
Yeah.
Well, no. To develop the actual film and just have negatives is actually super easy.
Oh, it is? Okay.
You
All
need
right.
like a little
canister.
tank.
Yeah, you put it in a little
And-
canister thing.
Oh, okay. All
Super
right.
easy.
Sure.
Okay. I
Give me
have
one
done that.
second.
And then we would just need like a magnifying or something to like
Yeah, hold
look
it
at
up
it,
to light
because we're
and-
looking at.
yeah.
Did you go with 35 millimeters what you need, or what you have?
That's the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's just like you have like almost a jeweler's glass for your
Yeah.
jeweler's.
The only time you need the whole darkroom is if you're making prints. So, and even that's not super complicated.
No.
Just has to be dark.
It just has to be dark. And you have to know where everything is.
Actually, it could be pretty bright as long as it's red light.
Yeah. I did not have red light. I just had to memorize where everything was.
That's the way it is with color prints.
Yeah.
It's annoying. You're like, I think the knob is up here. Is that the right one? Oh no, the lens fell out. Shit.
Okay. So you get your sketches and photos taken and head back to town.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the telegraph.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the telegraph office. Does anybody have messages that they'd like to send to anyone?
I think that I shall. While we're here, obviously this takes precedence, but I would like to attempt to contact the member of the university so I could get along with my little side
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
project.
If it's not confidential, I'll be happy to just take whatever you jot down and send it for you. Because I'm going to go there anyway to send a couple of messages to the university. I'd be happy to assist.
That is so gallant of you. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, you write down whatever it is, and I'll take it over. But I definitely want to send a message about update as to what we've discovered,
Okay.
and a request to ask other members of the faculty, random, the people that would know. I would probably know who they are. It's just who they are. this is what we found. Does this strike any kind of chord with anybody? Also, is this area known to have any type of cavern system? Is there, some kind of geological activity that would allow that to be? And also, if there are any, I'm actually going to go to the myths and legends department and say, are there any kind of Native American or ancient myths that revolve in this area, or even from the colonial times? Is any kind of strange or weird stuff has happened in this area? Just do some research for us and get back to us.
Okay. And what information is he? What is he sending for me?
I'm just attempting to say, hey, I'm from the university. We are doing an exhibition and upon to celebrate the 10th anniversary, and I would like to interview you for your contribution, as I know that you were an employee at the time of the opening.
Okay. All right.
Or if it's better than just a random employee.
How about it was what was Kimi's character's name? That basically just said "F this, I'm out."
Oh yeah.
She could be practicing in this area.
Oh yeah. We can do that.
Great.
There you go.
Her name?
So
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very good. Her name was Caroline Stratton.
Thanks. Very nice. And yes, especially with your connection to
The
it
events.
would be very. I won't actually reference it in
Yeah.
my telegram, obviously, but just say I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. Would appreciate a meeting at your convenience.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay.
Also,
Nice
I think
tie-in.
telegrams might be expensive if you go on too long.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
yeah.
You got to do. You got to be.
You pay. I think
brevity
you pay
is-
by the word.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you use really long words.
Their money's worth, man.
I think it's actually syllable based.
Yeah.
Well, it
I
might
wish
be.
to speak to you about establishmentarianism. Okay. And then after I do that, I come back to the hotel.
Okay.
I settle into the room. I'm assuming we're having dinner. Is there a place to have dinner here?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the hotel you're staying at is a very large converted house, and there's a kitchen dining room where it is assumed that you will come down for meals.
Okay, so this is kind of a side thing, but I want to inspect the kitchen and just see how far off kosher they are.
Oh.
They're pretty far off kosher.
I eat vegetables.
Okay.
Hopefully they weren't sauteed.
And I just steamed vegetables. That's it.
Right.
Good.
Is there there probably wouldn't be in this area, but a bar or something? Or a local... I know, I'm
No.
just asking.
There is no bar here.
Okay.
By the
Probably in Dry
way,
County.
Prohibition. Hello.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. No, you're right.
Look, little known secret. Amish country was known for the great speakeasies. To this day, we don't even know they were there.
I'm sorry, I
The
forgot.
secret well hidden through the
You guys are gonna
centuries.
Go crazy and cut loose when you get to Europe.
Yeah.
It'll be fantastic.
Okay. I'm just looking for a place I could talk to and visit with some locals, but I guess
It's after dark now.
yeah.
In Farmland.
In farmland.
Probably
All right.
tomorrow after early morning chore time, there's probably people that come to the church.
Yeah. I'm sure that's a thing.
Or the sort of Granger warehouse thing.
It's funny. She doesn't know anything about agrarian communities. She knows so much about all these places in the world, and she's like, "Why is everybody in bed already? I don't understand."
Why is that place so quiet? The sun just went down.
Yeah, what's happening?
All I can hear is the roaring fires.
Yeah.
Right.
It's quite unnerving.
Yeah. All right. So never mind. She's going to develop her film then,
Okay.
not into pictures, but just the negatives.
Got it.
I didn't even think about that, how hard it would be for a Russian national to move to Prohibition-era United States. Crap. Okay.
It was repealed in, what, 31 or 32, something like that?
It was a while.
It was like 14 years or something. It was a long
Yeah,
time.
but then that would be
Excessive.
34.
Okay.
Because
I
it was
don't-
It was
19.
1919?
Yeah, 1919, I think.
19 going into 20. I think it like became official New Year's
Oh, okay.
Day, 1920.
Everybody drank the last year's champagne.
Right.
I think I'll write a little bit in my journal, and
Okay.
then, I'm assuming we're doing after dinner times. We ate
Yes.
dinner, and now it's
I was wondering if we were having to have dinner together, whether we wanted to discuss anything or we had any new ideas. But if we don't, we can just move on to the next day. I'm cool with that too.
I'd make sure that everybody's all caught up on everything we all discovered.
Yeah.
yeah.
If we didn't,
We
specifically
all
voice
share
that.
all the things.
Actually,
Yeah.
what I do is I pull out a blank journal and we go, let's go over the whole thing. And I make sure that I note everybody's contribution to it, and then we have like one codified, everybody agrees to, this is the state of events journal.
Okay.
Oh, well, when we get back to town, there's probably time to check for plaster.
Oh, yeah.
So tonight,
Oh, yeah.
so we have it. And we're
Oh,
I
ready in
mean,
the
are
morning.
they still open?
The general store is still open. Yeah.
Oh, great. So yeah, the supplies to make the
And in fact, the town is not really shutting down at night because there's still an infestation going on that they're trying to control. So everyone's working. Long
Yeah,
hours.
yeah. I guess I just assumed like with the infestation and the fires and the horror, that people might not be like super
love it.
social in the evening right now.
Right. But the general store is open.
Oh, that's nice. Are there like, do they have gas out here? Or is it like
They have
gas?
what?
Gas?
I brought a lot.
Petroleum?
No, not petroleum. Like-
Petroleum distillate.
Like lighting.
Oh,
Well, there's
fuel oil, probably a lot.
Lamp oil?
Yes.
Most likely. They don't have electricity out here, so they'd have to have a ton of lamp oil if you're going to do anything at night. Or candles, maybe. But I would say lamp oil. Probably.
I'm just curious. I mean, it's not important.
Anyways, how are they starting these fires too? So they're probably using a lot of that stuff up.
you're consuming it rapidly, probably.
Yeah, it's not like new growth of crops burns quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Because
still
it must
wet.
be like most of their. It's an interesting time for locusts, I suppose, in my paltry research that I did before we left. Excuse me. Because the crops they're barely sprouting at this point. Like they're a foot to 2 foot high kind of deal.
Yeah.
So not much for them to feed on at this time of year.
Yeah, but even those things, they're still taking out, hectares of crops.
Yes, it's not that they can't do massive damage, but that it's unusual for them to
Yeah,
do this early.
yeah. Usually they do it like beginning of fall, right? And yeah,
Like,
it's just this is unusual behavior for that insect.
yes.
Agreed. So all of this is just weird. None of this should be going on.
Yeah.
All
We're all on
signs
the
point
same
to
page
no.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
I would like to disagree with the premise. Science tells me I should.
yes, it's quite an unnerving situation that we find ourselves in. So do we get gypsum and
Yeah.
plaster or
They have-
whatever
they
the
have
hell we're
plaster.
gonna?
They
Yeah,
have plaster.
great.
They have sacks of it.
Fantastic.
All you want. And tools.
Well,
Troll.
make sure we got
We
rope.
need to get
We
some
got-
rope.
He's trying to sell you trawls. And
So
I don't know what trolls are.
no,
that's
we're
what
using
you use
this
to
for
plaster
science.
walls and things like that. Because
Yeah.
clearly you're patching up
like
a wall.
trowels.
Yeah.
But no, we're
Is that
using
how you
this for
say that?
science.
Huh?
Trolls? Is that how you say that?
Trowels. Trowels.
Trowel.
I don't know.
I've only ever read that word.
They're definitely called trowels. I've been in construction. They are trowels. Oh shit. Oh, and also basically some lanterns, some portable lanterns that we'd probably need to take down there
Okay.
with enough oil to last a good long time.
I did research. There are electric flashlights at this point, but not here.
Yeah, I would assume that.
A lot of lamps. We got a lot of lamps.
You want lamps? We got lamps.
I'm trying to think of anything else that we might need to use.
Oh, you also get rope, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Rope and means
Who's-
by
who-
which to secure
Who's,
said rope.
who's paying for this stuff? Or are you taking this out of your per diem?
Well,
We got $30 to live high on the hog.
And it's not like there's a lot to spend it on out here.
yeah. Well, how much of these per diem are we spending on lodging and food?
Lodging was taken care of.
Okay.
It basically they gave you enough money to cover food.
You know, I'll take personal responsibility for the rope and the securing gear if you want to do the lanterns and the
Absolutely
blaster.
fine.
What's your daily spend?
My daily spending level is 10. Cash is $60.
So your spending level is 10?
Yeah.
Okay. And yours is
50.
a billion, right?
Yeah.
It's not a billion.
Okay.
Well,
So yeah, this is incidental.
yeah.
I'm not going to walk
Expenditures.
into a store and buy a house.
Aren't you the house?
Do they
At the
sell
house
houses
store.
at the house store.
I have people to do that for.
So you guys are getting plaster. How many kerosene lamps are you getting?
One for each of us. I would.
So four kerosene lamps. How much rope?
Well, we need a considerable amount. We need at least 20 meters plus whatever distance we need to be able to secure it to something sound.
Probably another 10 meters.
Yes.
100 feet of rope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So
I have
Can
rope
we
and I
have
a
that in
hook.
meter, please?
20, 40. That's 120. About 120 meters.
yeah.
So maybe you get 2 coils of.
Yeah. 100
yards
feet.
of rope.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. And you already have rope. You said.
I have
too?
a little bit. That's okay.
Okay.
I'm fine with getting new rope.
That's fine.
I'm
Can
fine.
never have enough rope.
Yeah.
True.
Can confirm.
If we're gonna go
Well, and
dungeon
mine's,
diving.
mine's like attached to like a grappling hook, so it may not be like great for
Well,
this.
that could be useful.
That's
too,
really useful
so-
once
I
we're
feel
already
like
down
that's
there.
super
Yeah, I
useful
think-
to bring with us.
Yeah, that's exactly her plan. She's like, yeah, we'll take
Keep
this.
that with us.
That'll be the take with us rope.
Yes.
I like this idea.
Just out of curiosity, if you noticed, the well that was over there, was it a very deep well? Around the same depth as
We
what-
sort of followed the footprints that
Oh, you-
didn't actually go to the well.
because if there's
Right? I didn't look at the well, did you?
No,
I'm just-
once again, we followed the footprints.
Yeah.
It seemed like the footprints avoided the well, so.
the well doesn't seem like relevant information, so that's why I didn't think that maybe you did it. But with the well
would tell
being
us
there
what
and
the
being
water
close
table
by,
is.
exact, tell us where the water table is, and also that there's underground water in that area. So maybe some.
Well, it does seem like the well is the closest parking spot,
Yeah, yeah.
That's true.
for lack of a more period-appropriate term.
I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to anticipate what we're going to find underground if we do go down there.
So we could stop. We could attempt to lower a lantern partially into the well to see what the water table is, if that's what your concern is.
Well, you saw your.
No.
you saw your
I
little
know there's
torch.
no water down there. I'm just wondering what we're going to find once we actually start exploring that tunnel or chamber or whatever it is that leads off to the side.
Well, you said that the farmer thought they might have been stopping for a drink, so there's definitely
Yeah,
water there
there's
as
water
far
there.
as he knows.
Well, and it's the farmer's well. Like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm cool with just waiting for the next morning and heading out and doing the thing.
I think that sounds fantastic.
Nothing.
Second.
I'm quite exhausted. Unexpectedly so, I suppose. But that journey really sapped me a bit, I suppose.
Motor cars are quite exciting. Once they get the adrenaline running, it burns off a lot of energy.
Though it must be completely old hat for you.
Is
For horses.
this entire area Amish, Stu, or are the neighboring towns not?
The neighboring town to the east.
Rothsville?
Yes, that is
Rothsville, and it is
Rothville
unaffected.
Is not Amish?
It is not Amish.
That is not an Amish town.
Are all the towns that got affected Amish?
Well, so far, it's just this
So
one.
far, it's just this town and the
Oh, okay.
farmland, surrounding farmland.
So are all the farmlands that have been affected been Amish farmlands?
Not all of them. Some of the outlying ones are not Amish, but they're still.
They're Amish adjacent?
They're Amish, but the effort to contain the whole thing, obviously, they don't care about.
No, it's not that. It's just curiosity.
Right.
No, I'm just saying, what's the likelihood of somebody in Rothsville owning a motor vehicle?
We haven't been there, so you don't really know. And it's not a town that you probably have ever heard of or would know any information about. Looking around, the countryside that you've gone through so far, you've not seen very many cars. Not in this area.
Probably statistically more likely than an Amish town.
But still
Infinitely statistically more likely.
but probably still poor.
Infinitesimal.
Yeah, but
Right.
still very small.
So it's the next morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are all having breakfast downstairs?
Sure.
Okay.
Oi.
Telegram for you, Mr. Doctor.
Mr.
Holzman.
Doctor.
Mr. Doctor?
Mr. Doctor.
Mr. Doctor, the girlfriend?
Telegram. I have a printer. I can print them out at will.
Description of site in the woods is similar by description to site of the Charles Manson Strickland murders in Springfield, New York. Stop. Dimensions differ, but proportions are exact. Stop. Dr. Freedman may have some insight. Stop. Dr. Phineas Blankenship. So apparently there seems to be some tie to.
That is.
Weren't you working on something for that?
Well, I know of the. I have done some research, obviously, into the Charles Mason Strickland situation, especially as he was confined to our facility right as it first opened, and then. And now, with the coinciding with the anniversary, he is attempting to get parole.
Wasn't there some form of scandal involving the transfer of the prisoner between the prison?
Indeed. One of our other current patients was involved. And now he's a permanent resident.
And there was a, I wouldn't say scandal so much as an incident in which Strickland overcame his escort and somehow was able to seriously disturb one of the orderlies who was there to subdue him.
This was 10 years ago, right?
Your mic's off.
And then, so at least that is what the history we have so far says.
You still seem very quiet.
I think I was just quiet because I was just remembering.
Okay. Right.
So, yeah, I was a student when that happened. And people were telling stories like mad about things that the occult and like witchcraft and strange religion. It's very strange.
Well, there was so much oddness about the Strickland case. So, of course, when he was able to somehow, through the devil's own will, overcome the orderlies, that people said all kinds of things, I'm sure.
Yeah, they did. And yeah, many people did believe, didn't, at the time I put more stock in it than I do now, but at the time it seemed like maybe the devil was helping him out.
Please, pardon my ignorance, but this was before my time at the university. What was this man convicted of doing?
He kidnapped and murdered 9
Nine.
college students.
His students.
Yes.
Made quite the
But
tale on campus.
Since the incident, he has professed nothing but his own innocence. And he hasn't shown any remorse for anything because he doesn't
Believe he's done anything.
indeed. However, he has been, correct me if I'm wrong here, Stu, he's been a model patient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? He hasn't been violent. He hasn't shown any signs that he would be a problem in the years that I've been here.
I mean, has he been near any other college students?
Well, our residents have interacted with him.
I would feel all the safer if he remained under professional care for as long as he may take breath.
Amen to that.
Now, once again, forgive me, these stones correlate how in these grisly murders?
They line up with the pattern that he laid out the college students before he sacrificed them in some sort of a ritual.
So, V shape. Are the geese flying north also in on the conspiracy?
Well, no, but the proportions of this V shape and the number of stones correlates exactly with his pattern.
So maybe a fan or someone who wants to get his attention.
Or it might just be someone who read about the case recently. I mean, it's with all the news about him attempting
His
to seek
parole.
parole,
Yes.
the interest may have been stirred even in this corner of civilization.
Ritual denotes tradition. Usually when something is ritually done, someone does not simply construct the ritual. It usually comes, the symbology and the methodology usually comes from some form of tradition, whether it be religious or not, but usually has some form of religious connotation. One would think that maybe if this man was practicing some sort of obscure ritual, that someone has discovered the same source of information that he had in order to repeat it. I know that culturally speaking, there are a lot of peoples that put a lot of stock into either being able to ward off the evil eye, or simply be able to summon up something that they consider to be an entity that would aid them, or simply give sacrifice to a god that they think will give them benefit of some sort. You do not simply just sacrifice life without there being some kind of basis in it.
Indeed. I use the term ritual there very loosely, in that it was obviously some sort of formed pattern for some purpose that we've never been able to identify. And nor have we been able to associate this particular pattern with a known religious act or anything that we've been able to discover in the years since. And the patient himself seems to have no recollection of why he did this or
I know that
what purpose it served.
I know that there were things that happened to me while I was in prison in Turkey that my mind has selected to no longer remember. It is a defense. What I've been told by people of your profession, that it is a defensive mechanism. So it could very well be that he actually realized the horror of what he did and simply shut it off. But perhaps he had some kind of co-conspirator or someone whom he worked with that we're unaware of that is now furthering whatever sinister work he was.
Though how does that relate to? How does that tie in with the
Locusts?
Yes, and also, it wasn't one person who was in that site. It was 7.
That's true.
So,
I mean, we may
Not
also
a
just be, crossing oranges and apples here. This might just be a coincidence that there's a V shape with 9 things. That's not exactly like if they had his name carved in them or the names of his victims.
Oh, indeed.
But at this point, it might be just something local kids that put up to play fairy ring or something.
But it is quite literally the only true curiosity that we stumbled across in this entire thing, and the proximity to the source of the problem that we have makes it somewhat suspicious. You're correct. It may lead to absolutely nothing, but the one does not carry what looks like would you say about a ton of rock between all those stones?
At least. The hole's probably 4 feet in diameter, and it goes down, I don't know, 30 feet, and then farther than that.
Well, you're talking about the weight of just the
stones. Well, somebody would have to basically carry these
Oh, yeah.
stones out there and set that up. It's not something that I think children would do. It requires some amount of engineering and resource.
I mean,
And
my
also,
friends and
I
I built a
mean-
tree house when we were kids. This seems a lot more simple than that.
Yes, but like this hole.
The hole is what.
I mean, it's one thing to say, oh, over the course of however long, someone could have carried out those rocks for whatever reason. But this hole.
And the fact there's no evidence of any of the removed earth
that is
anywhere
a strange
nearby.
I do
That's
think you.
fascinating.
I do think you might be spot on with that hole being the origination of the locusts. I think that is a very good theory. But this whole connection to the murder, as fascinated as I was by it back when I was a student, believe me, a lot of us used it to get out of our hours with our professors. Oh, very nervous about my professor. What if they go off the handle like the other one?
I agree with you. We should concentrate. We should far more use our energies to concentrate on the things that actually are absolute peculiarities, and before we start making connections with things that may or may not be associated.
And, I mean,
Do people
Dr.
eat bacon with
Blankenship
everything?
is the primary physician on Strickland's case. I mean, it must be forefront in his mind right now.
Yes.
Not, of course, to ever attempt to undermine what he might feel is.
Well, like I said earlier, scientists tend to overly focus on their area of expertise when they're looking to solve a problem.
It is true. And all you have is a hammer. Every problem looks like a nail.
Indeed.
But now we've got rope and lanterns and plaster. We're ready for all sorts of problems.
I'm perfectly willing to acquiesce that the presence of standing stones will intrigue me more than the average individual.
Well, let's get to it then,
Indeed.
shall we?
The faster we're done with this, the better, as far as I'm concerned. I am no spelunker.
Can I just say that how glad I am in character creation when I was like, should I take swimming or climbing?
Yeah.
I made the correct choice.
Congratulations.
Until we find that underground river.
Yeah, right. Until we get to the bottom and there's water.
You know, I know that we don't want to alarm anyone. It's quite a heavily religious area. But it might be worth asking the farmer if he knows anything of this clearing, at least.
We should at least inform someone of where we're going in case the rope fails.
Well, you know what we didn't do last night is we didn't talk to old Erasmus.
It's a good point.
Well, I can go talk to Dr. Anastas if that's and update him on what's going on and let him know what we're doing, so at least there's somebody, if we go missing, they know where to look. Not that I want to prepare for the worst case situation, but I am Russian.
Well, and Doris has been stuck places before. She's like, you need to let someone know where you're going to be. Just
Trust
in
me,
case.
I've dug into old, dusty, dangerous
Yeah.
places before too. It's like, yeah, you don't do that.
1923 hours. What was it? What's that film? The James Franco movie. With the
Oh,
arm?
182.
Yeah, whatever. Some number of hours.
The I sawed my arm off movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I'm going to see if the good doctor is at work at his laboratory.
Yeah, he's kind of helping them. His primary focus here is coordinating the effort to eradicate this time.
Right. Yeah, because he's the entomologist, right?
Right.
So I'm going to basically go up with if we have photographs developed of the place that we found. I assume that they're done.
Well, the negatives. Would
The
be
negatives, yeah. I
Negatives.
haven't
No
done photographs, but you
Okay.
can like hold it up and see the pictures.
Okay. That's fine. That's good enough. I go, Doctor, I have some relatively strange information to share with you.
Yes.
So we went up to the farm that was initially affected by the locust plague.
The Jordan farm, yes.
Indeed, and we spoke to Farmer Jordan, and we also investigated the wooded area directly to the east of his farmstead. After questioning him, we had discovered that apparently the night of the infestation, an autocar had driven up and stopped over by his well, he assumes, to get water, maybe perhaps for the vehicle or themselves.
Yes, he mentioned this to me.
They spent quite a significant amount of time doing so. We didn't initially find that strange until we started to investigate. Once we did, my colleagues discovered that the inhabitants, that the riders of this vehicle did not simply just stay around or rest or collect water, but actually did march into the wooded area at that time. We found evidence of tracks leading to a open clearing in that wooded area. I and Doris had already discovered the clearing by the time they had followed those tracks, since we were investigating the woods. And within this clearing, I showed them the negatives. We discovered this. Just put it up to like a candle, and like
Right.
a strange arrangement of stones that had been obviously cut by man, and stretching about, what, like I said, 18 inches in height?
Yeah, 18 inches
About
in height.
18 inches in height, arranged in this pattern, pointing roughly, if not almost precisely, to west, right?
Yes.
No, yeah. And in the middle of this, we found this pit that apparently had been freshly dug, although we found no evidence of the displaced earth anywhere within the area. Our plan currently is to, and after some investigation, we found that it's about 20 meters deep, and there seems to be some kind of shaft leading off and to the west, right? What direction was the shaft leading off to?
I would think we just saw that it curved.
We just saw the curve. We couldn't tell. Okay,
Yeah, probably
that
couldn't tell.
curves into perhaps maybe more tunnels or another entrance. My current working theory is that there was some form of hibernating hive of insects underground in this area, and whomever dug this pit up exposed them and awakened them from their hibernation, which caused them to basically nest and then swarm out from the underground hive.
The Locusta migratoria are known to nest or to create subterranean nests. It could be. Usually they are around vegetation.
Well, it was in a heavily wooded area, but it just seems concerning enough to investigate, and my colleagues and I have prepared equipment to go down this tunnel and see if we can find any evidence of this nesting. I would like to lead upon your expertise. If you can tell me if there's anything in particular that we would look for. I know that for larger animals, you look for scat or tracks. What kind of activity would we be able to find if there was a nest of locusts? Or would it be fairly obvious?
He goes over and opens up a book, and he says, and there's like illustrations of what their like seed sack or egg sacks look like. So you will see something.
Tastes good too.
and he traces some illustrations and says that they should look something like this.
And I also wanted to inform you that we were doing this morning, just in case. If you do not see us by close to sundown today, please send someone to investigate.
Of course. Do check in with me when you return.
Oh, absolutely.
We're just asleep.
We're having dinner.
All these people running out in the woods looking for help.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, probably he was off doing some stuff too, because at night would probably be the best time to burn a bunch of shit, just because there's nobody out to suffer from the smoke and all the other crap.
And the insects are staying put. Probably
Yeah.
most likely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You can get them.
well, this is so weird because like the swarm started in the middle of the night.
Right.
I come back with the information of what we're looking for, and I go, "Are we ready?"
Ready as we'll ever be.
Well, I
Climbing.
and I go, which is why I say I believe that we should follow your instruction as to what to do, since this is obviously more your purview than ours.
Very well.
Before we head down, might we just speak with the farmer for a little bit first, and just
That's
It's on the way,
Perfectly reasonable.
and perfectly reasonable. I agree.
and then I would like to set the plaster into these footprints prior, and that way it'll be ready when we come out.
Yeah, and we would want to do this as quickly as we can before that all of those tracks and all that were basically blown away or stomped on. So yeah, there is some urgency to that. So very good. Exactly, we should do that.
Okay. All right. So you head out, go by the well. You're getting tracks of the footprints and the tire tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Both.
I'll only get the tire tracks if you ask me to. It's not
Probably.
something I would think to like,
as long as we have the material for it.
because
then
like
I'd
all
be
cars
fine.
are cars to me.
Right.
Right. Well, Stu did say they had sacks and sacks of this stuff, so I don't think it's a
Yeah.
rare resource. Might as well get whatever we can get.
Right.
The kerosene was a lot more sparse at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll get. I'll start impressions of all the footprints and a section of track,
Okay.
and
And I'm going to assume, since this is sort of like a thing that I do in archaeology, is that I'm going to set little flags around the area and sort of cordon it off with some string,
Okay. All right.
and basically just put up a sign: "Please do not disturb plaster casting in progress."
Okay.
Just as a polite sign, so people don't go, "What's going on here?" and just start messing with it.
Right. Okay. All right. Oh,
We
that
come back. There's a bunch of initials and hand
Yeah.
frames.
Nice.
Skippy was here, or whatever. All right.
Jebediah was here.
Jebediah.
Okay.
Amish life forever.
Yeah.
All right. And then where are you going after you did the plastering?
We want to talk to Farmer Jordan.
Okay.
We'll
Again.
talk to him again.
All right. He's out
You
there.
know what? I'll probably have brought some. It's not a lot, but some like lunch meats and
Oh, okay.
stuff
All right.
as a thank you for his time and for us
Nice.
bothering him
Yeah.
out here.
Okay.
He's obviously very busy and going through a very tough time, so
Yeah.
we apologize for taking his time. That's cool.
Okay.
Would you be super nice?
He's very-
Sometime.
You come in and you bring this stuff, and he's very thankful that you brought it. And he also lets you know that they're about to have their midday meal if you would like to join them. It's like 10,
Yeah.
but that's midday.
Sure. They've been up for 6
Amish.
hours.
Right.
The Elvish.
No. We were actually. We had actually just discovered a curiosity over in the woods, out on the edge of your land here.
Oh, did you?
Yes, we're going to go explore. There seems to be an excavation of some kind. Perhaps someone was trying to make a well out there. I don't know.
Doesn't seem to make much sense to dig a well far away from where you need water.
I would agree with that, but
Stu's catching my accent.
it's his sort of farmer accent.
It's Letterkenny accent. Can confirm.
That's
When we bring the props in from the summer.
that was getting real FDR-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Went about with my friends one day.
This is going to go off the rails if I
know.
don't come up with something to say. So we found this interesting formation of some stones that people had put out there, and we're going to go check it out. See what we're doing out there, and going to check out this well that was dug. We think that it might have disturbed some of these insects that might have been hibernating, is dormant below the ground level. So we're going to go investigate and see what we can find.
So you think this hole may have something to do with the
The
locust?
only way to find out is to go explore. So we'll leave our car parked out there near the well while we go.
Oh,
check
that's
it out.
fine. I'll keep an eye toward it.
I appreciate that. Had you seen anyone out here before the strange car that night?
Well, I mean, the road is right there. I do see people drive back and forth occasionally.
Well, people stopping.
Well, occasionally they'll stop at the well. You know, that's why I put it out near the road.
So, yeah, okay. Well,
I'm assuming cars at this point are water cooled. Are cars water cooled?
Yeah.
Cooled at this
Yeah.
Okay.
well, many.
Okay.
And often they're needing to refill the water.
Exactly.
So they're water cooled and leaky.
Right.
Yes. Because sealing the whole steam thing is hard.
Right.
At this point, there's probably actually the actual steam cars.
Probably
Oh, yeah.
still
Too.
around a bit, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, those are a thing. From that sewing machine company. What was it?
Singer?
It wasn't Singer, though. It was like,
Juki?
no, I don't.
That's definitely.
It's definitely not Juki.
White sewing machine company. That was it.
Oh, okay.
And then eventually the Stanley steamer. That was a thing.
But either way,
But you haven't seen anyone stop out there for a while, like this motor car, for hours.
Oh, yeah. No, I've never... nothing like that's happened to my knowledge.
Okay. Well, thank you. Again, appreciate your time. Enjoy your midday meal.
had he known anything of the...
He seemed curious about it, but didn't seem like he was aware of it.
Interesting. Well, I mean, hopefully it'll do us some good, but this plaster is setting now, and it'll take some time. So, I suppose there's nothing to do but get on with it.
I too am not.
No reason to
incredibly looking
procrastinate.
forward to climbing down a 20-meter.
No reason to
shaft.
procrastinate any further. Let's get this over with. The faster we do, the better.
Yes.
Okay. So you get there, and the site's exactly as you left it, except that
Okay.
you can see better.
That's good. I was going to be concerned if we came back and it was filled in.
It's like, damn.
Or like all the prints.
Oh,
I was
darn,
a little
we can't
concerned
crawl
all the prints
down the
and stuff were
hole.
going to be gone, and like the evidence would be destroyed.
So it's there, and you can there's enough sunlight. The sun is almost
Overhead?
overhead that you can now see that. It looks like it curves to the north.
Okay.
Kind of like a little bit northeast, a little.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna run our rope. I'm gonna tie it around one of the big trees nearby.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure I take my rope and my grappling hook and stuff with me. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm actually gonna have them go first, so I can like supervise and talk them through it, and that way, in case anything happens, I can like.
I think you just made an assumption.
No? Okay. Well, that will be my recommendation. Is like.
Well,
I'll
I did say,
stand here.
you're in charge, lady. You know what you're doing. You make that call, is what
Well,
not,
Stu's indicating that we might not all want to go down the
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the plan was for all of us to go. Was it just for me
I
to
will
go?
I will go
Oh,
with
okay.
you.
Oh, if I'm just going down, then that's fine. I'll just go by myself. Like,
Okay.
I'll go first.
I'm not athletic.
Okay.
I have no
I
desire to go
actually,
into the hole.
I am completely fine with the person that's working a library and the psychologist, and I go. I think the archaeologist and the adventurer are probably the best
I mean,
bet.
as much as
I don't disagree.
Nobody even thinks twice when you say, I don't know. We weren't thinking that you would go. It's cool.
fantastic. I mean, as much as like, it's quite thrilling. I just am not sure how I would actually get down there or back up afterwards. Like, just peering out over the hole.
Perhaps we could find a hot air balloon basket to lower down inside.
The look Doris gives when like he says. Well, it's all just as well because you never know what can happen to a rope while you're down in a hole. So keep an eye on that place, especially since there seems to be some suspicion that there might be some funny business happening with people around here. Talking about your murder cults and such things.
Oh,
They probably
yeah.
wouldn't want us poking around.
That completely slipped my mind.
She says that sort of sarcastically because she doesn't really
I
believe
can
that that's what it is.
certainly
but-
keep my eyes out for
Yeah. She basically
ritualistic
doesn't want them to
murderers.
get bored and leave away and like leave.
Right.
Well,
No, I wouldn't leave.
simple matter of the fact is, somebody going down there by themselves probably a bad idea. Just in case some stuff goes down, you want to have someone that at least can go back and get help.
But
And-
also, all of us going down there. Also,
a bad idea. Once again, we split the party. We're fuck D&D rules. Let's do
It's
it.
okay. So yeah, she's gonna climb down the hole.
All right, make that climbing roll.
Woohoo! I'm gonna fail. That's because I've talked so much about it.
I took it. And I'm badass.
25?
Oh, 25. No,
Boom.
I totally made that.
Yeah, it's a base
Woohoo!
20, so yeah.
Nice.
I'm having assistance and with some rope. Would I get anything over the base 20?
You're having. I'm sorry.
She's assisting me, and I'm like tied to a rope.
Oh,
And,
get a bonus die.
okay, cool. I'll just re-roll the. Well, it's a 13, so I'm good.
Okay. So you guys make
Oh. Quite agile at that, aren't you?
I got lucky.
Well, he's had so much experience, I suppose. I mean,
did
I don't
kinda
know
do
a
this.
ton of about his career, but he must have gone into all kinds of places.
I'm no Indiana Jones, but I have gone into creepy crawly places.
You guys get to the bottom, and you sort of scale down the sloping part of it.
Oh, one thing I'm going to do is I brought an extra lantern, because since we bought 4, I'm going to tie one to the rope where it is, so we have beacon to where to go back.
Nice.
Okay, got it. Okay, so it's incline. You don't even really need a rope to get down the incline
Okay.
part of it, and then it sort of flattens out probably about 15, 20 feet.
How tall and how wide is the...
It's about 6 feet high.
Okay, so it's something that's probably intended for somebody of man height to be able to
I mean,
comfortably walk through.
You walk through it, you
If
kind of
somebody made
have
that
a
way.
natural tendency to want to stoop because you're used to ceilings being a certain height and this
Right.
is lower. But as soon as you get to the bottom of the thing, and you're carrying lanterns, correct? Okay. Both of you make a sanity check.
Oh, freaking
Oh,
frack.
good.
How do you do that?
You're going to roll percentile dice, and you want to roll below your current sanity.
Oh, got it. Okay.
83. I have an 80 sanity, dude.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, snap.
It's like
That's a
nine.
9.
Nice.
So
Okay.
Nope, that's the way it goes.
So you're fine. You take a D3. Go ahead and roll a...
2.
Okay. At 2, I don't think you get the bout. Because that is not within the...
Yay!
so excited.
I'm actually
That
so
is
excited I'm the first one to lose sanity.
that is not 1/5 of your sanity.
Oh,
correct?
no.
Not
All right.
even
And it is
close.
not. It is less than 5 points. So
So I failed, but I failed okay.
you have some sort of momentary loss of control.
Okay.
You could scream. You
I'll
could
trip.
freeze. Trip. Okay. You fall. Thump. There is a severed hand sitting, sort of in the center of this, sort of the
Is it-
bottom of this pit.
Is it like fresh meat type hand, or are we talking like
It
a
is being fed
skeletal
upon.
hand?
It is being fed upon currently by what looks like these locusts. A few of them. There's like about 12 of them around it. Some of them are like coming out of the
Okay.
where it had been severed from. So like they go in and eat the sweetmeats and they're coming back out.
I basically sort of... oh, my goodness, on the ground.
Is that like for real happening? I can see that too, or is
Oh,
it
it's
something
there.
in his
No,
head?
no, it's
Oh, okay.
there's a hand there. You're like,
That's-
hey, there's a hand here.
Oh. Oh. I've seen worse with lions. All right. Oh, that's unfortunate. Did anybody say anybody had gone missing? I'm gonna like look at the hand.
It's a male hand. You can tell
Okay.
that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no rings or any identifying. Whoever it is Caucasian.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to see if somebody's gone missing. It's definitely.
Is fingerprinting a thing at this time?
I think it is.
But you'd have to like have something to compare it to.
Right.
Yeah, the database of
Yeah.
fingerprints to compare it to is relatively tiny, but
Especially in an Amish town.
And both of you make a spot hidden check.
well, that's assuming it's a local thing.
That's true.
No.
Oh, okay. Not terrible. Okay.
I mean, I got some.
29. I made it.
There you go.
35.
There
Kimmy's
is
on fire.
There is
Play
something.
presentable games all the time.
There is something white that's partially buried,
Uh-huh.
not far from the hand.
I will go and look at the thing.
It looks to be made of bone, but you can't really. I mean, you're gonna have to dig it out.
Okay, I start digging it out. There's not like locusts on it, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm glad they sold me this trowel. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll grab it. Actually, if we have one of the, I'm actually going to squash the locusts first
Okay.
because they're on the hand, and we should probably take this back with us.
Okay.
So I'm going to use the shovel to smash the locusts that are eating the hand,
Got it.
and then pick up the hand and put it in my bag.
Well, you probably have like a cloth sacks or something.
Yeah, I've got a whole like adventurer sack, so I
Right.
have all the things.
You probably don't want to put it in where you keep your rations.
No, no.
Okay.
I might keep some of the locusts, but no, I'm just kidding.
Right. That's good eating.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna, and then after I do that, then I'm gonna go dig up whatever the white thing is.
Okay. All right. You dig it up, and it appears to be some sort of skull. It looks kind of like a buzzard, but it's large. It's probably about maybe 18 inches long.
Crap.
So it's a bear skull.
It's a bear skull. There are no eye sockets.
It is not a bear skull, though.
Yeah.
There are no eye sockets in it, and the
that's
beak
nice.
appears to be made out of bone,
Ooh.
rather than like that sort of chitinous
Beakish
Yeah.
material.
stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Very excited about this.
I'm like,
She thinks she's discovered a new thing and is going to name it after herself.
make a spot hidden roll, or archaeology, whichever is better.
yeah, archaeology is definitely better.
Okay.
97, no.
Okay. All
I
right.
am sucking it up. I know why I stay away from percentile these games. I always suck it up. So universally, RuneQuest killed me over and over again.
All right, so now I'm taking this giant buzzard head with me as well because
Right.
I have discovered a new prehistoric animal,
Right.
the Vulturus dolorosus. And anything else like down here?
No, that's all that's down there. And there's actually quite a few dead locusts down here.
Okay.
But you like the seed pods or egg.
I still
egg
collect a
pods?
few samples of the actual
None.
locusts too.
You don't
Does
see
it
any.
does it look like was there like a cause? Like were they eaten by something? Were they the dead locusts?
Yeah, that's why I'm picking up samples so we can examine.
Some of them just look dead. You don't
Okay.
see any. I mean, not like smushed like the ones that you got. No.
That happens with locusts. Sometimes they just die. Okay.
But there were like no exploded egg sacs or anything, did
No, none.
Sorry, I know I'm not
That's okay.
there.
No, you're fine.
I thought I missed something.
Yeah. Is it light? Is there enough light down here for me to take a picture?
With the two lanterns, probably.
Yeah, I'll hold both lanterns while you take a
Okay,
picture.
so I'm gonna try and do a selfie with me and my skull
Okay.
of the moment of discovery.
1920s selfie.
Yeah.
that works.
I mean, I have the button thing we've already established.
Right.
So,
Actually, if we just set up the lanterns, I'd be happy to take a picture of you looking all conquery with like
all right, yeah, I'll do that. Like
with your Captain
with
Morgan
the-
type pose.
Yeah, the moment of discovery of the Vulturus dolorosus.
Oh, this
Okay.
is a very important scientific moment.
It
You wanna-
is. It's very
yeah,
exciting.
Absolutely. I'm super excited for
Yeah.
you. It's fantastic.
All right, so we do that, and then
Okay.
anything else, or is it kind of done now? Like,
You don't see
Continue
anything
on,
else?
Okay.
or is it?
That's
this is
it.
a dead end.
It's
Okay.
a pit that kind of has a little thing, and that's it. It doesn't go anywhere.
Well, I think we should best head back before... It seems like perhaps someone already found this, and we better get back and get out of here before that they come back and try and abscond with my discovery. Our discovery.
No, this requires further excavation. What we need to do is get a team from the university over here to dig. There's obviously something here.
Exactly. I bet that's who that was in the car. Not from the university, but, I don't know, for-profit evil scientists or something trying to dig this out without notifying the proper...
Well, it could have been
Universities.
some form of individual trying to do this for profit. Absolutely, those do exist. But
Oh,
but
I mean, it's not terrible.
I don't see how just 7 people digging a hole and just finding something would profit anyone. Like I said, this requires further excavation, and the fact that they miss a discovery of this magnitude after having dug this entire pit is, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right to me.
Well, maybe they weren't the ones who dug it. Maybe, I'm going to point to where the hand was, maybe that poor fellow was.
Well, we should probably make the authorities would probably like someone to make an effort to discover the rest of that, so they can uncover if there was any foul play. The hand that she discovered, does it look like it was chopped off, torn off? Okay, so this was obviously done by
fairly
some kind of
clean
instrument.
cut.
It is a very clean cut.
So because this was obviously done
You
by
can
some
see
kind
marks
of
from a
instrument.
bone saw on the wrist,
Oh, yeah. So
or some sort of saw. You may not know.
it may not be plain out murder, but still doing something like this to a cadaver for no purpose is.
Pretty sure, Doctor, it was straight up murder. And those people that were here in that car probably have something to do with it. I don't know if we know, but I mean, we know 7 people showed up. We don't know if 7 people left.
True. That is true.
Technically, wouldn't I have been able to tell if 7 people left?
Yes, you would. 7 people got back in the car.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind. Delete that.
We can search for blood
Yeah. Well,
after they come back and tell us we should do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll head back
I was
out.
thinking, like, while we're up there, that I would use our time more productively than just sitting around and, like, investigate this connection more with the similarities to the Strickland case. Like, because based on that telegram, I could take exact measurements and, like, make the diagrams of the stone
Sure.
placement and all of that, so I can compare it to the ratios and the Husmasigis of the Strickland case, and see if, like, there are any other similarities or differences besides these not being bodies.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you have back at the university, you have extensive material about the Strickland.
Yeah, I'm sure, especially with, like, timing and everything.
Right. So you go ahead and make that the art. Sorry, the art, whatever the art is, because you've got something for the watercoloring, don't you? Are you using the
No, I have a
watercolor?
guitar. My watercoloring is mostly just
Okay.
like, it's a hobby thing.
Okay. I mean, it's like a regular spot hidden roll to
Okay.
basically get all the measurements correct and get it as accurate as you possibly can.
Let's try these guys. Oops, sorry. That did not work out. I'm gonna push it, and I'm gonna
Okay.
ask for your help.
Sure.
And be like, hey, I could actually use your assistance here. And, like, I just want to take some additional measurements, and I want to...
Sure.
Okay, so pushing it, I'm gonna. So you both, I'll let you both roll. You just take the higher roll. If you both fail, you've moved one of the stones significantly and will no longer be able to take accurate measurements. That's the bad thing that
The
happens if you fail.
And this is spot hidden?
Yeah.
Not me.
Oh, it's all up to you now.
Oh!
Nice.
So, I guess I, destroy the entire thing.
You knock a couple of them over.
Aw.
Shit happens.
Sorry. Did we push one into the hole?
That's amazing.
Now,
And
that
then
would be like
we both just stand there like,
that would be like rolling a 99.
I didn't
One
fuck
goes
up a
tumble.
roll. You guys did, man. Because trust me, that would fall on
Those
my
dice are
head.
inside out.
That's a good spot to use the luck skill as well.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it falls down. Whose head does it land on?
let's roll luck and see if you both get smashed.
Or some in the book, what they suggest is that whoever has the lowest luck, it just hits them.
Okay, so never mind. I don't do
A
things.
victim of circumstance at that point, man.
Oh,
Why is it always me?
we did get some photographs of the place at least.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I had some basic outlines. I just wanted to get I wanted to see if I could compare
survey,
and
yeah.
basically like extensive research materials that are now impossible to get for anyone. I'm not as sad about this as I should be. They're less disturbing when they're knocked over.
It certainly has interrupted whatever meaning was originally intended.
And that could only really be a good thing.
Because none of this is good. There's no good things here.
And we don't even know about the severed hand yet.
Yeah, after
or
the severed hand,
owl
like-
beast.
I just can't help
Sorry.
but sit here and wonder.
You guys climb back up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me those climbing rolls.
Oh, jinkies.
Because especially now, that's
79.
Ooh, no, I failed.
No, but the thing is, we should have some statistical bonus because we have a rope. We're actually in a
no,
good
that's
condition.
true. Yeah, go ahead and roll with bonus. Roll a second 10.
10.
No.
Roll a
You
second.
nailed it.
From everything you guys know, I'm super climby.
49.
49. No, I think I still miss it. Yeah, I have 40.
I got push.
All right.
Unless you want to stay down there. Oh, you can ask them to pull you up.
Embarrassing.
No.
It's like stopping an
Those of you at home, like there was a look of
The looks between those two.
No, that does not happen.
You don't understand the ego
so
of this
annoyed.
character.
Like I have this beautiful new set of dice, and it doesn't have a percentile. I must have left it at home. Hopefully, I was super mad.
It didn't come with 2 d10s?
I don't know. It probably did, but it might be at home. I put it in my.
They come with any d10s?
Yeah, there's 1 d10, so I'm sure it is a percentile. I roll these ones. So yeah, I'm gonna push. I'm gonna switch, and I'm going to put. How big is the vulture skull thing? I'm gonna put it in my bag.
Okay. I'm assuming it was in your bag anyway.
Oh, you were.
What I'm thinking is maybe instead of just climbing the rope, you're going to like twist the rope around your wrists so
Okay.
you don't slip, because you probably slipped because there was loose dirt or something like that.
Sure.
So if you fail again, you're probably you might snap your wrist because you might fall and it's wrapped around it.
Oh man.
Yeah, you're pushing.
Pushing has consequence, yeah.
Don't go bad.
Wow, that's way worse than our push to knock over
Yeah.
cobblestone.
Dude.
Oops. Versus,
But there are more stakes from measuring than there are from
Yes.
climbing.
Yeah, it does feel like the stakes are lower when you're like, I
might
have this
knock
tape-
over a rock.
I have this piece of string.
Yeah.
Well, she could just ask for help.
She could probably.
Technically,
All right.
you could.
Yeah, I'll push it.
All right.
yeah.
Push it real good.
0 and 2.
Yay!
Boom. Okay.
Turbo.
Oh yeah.
Right on.
Like I do like a flip when I come
Right.
up at the top.
Right. They have to like help him get out of the hole, and
Yeah.
you're just like,
Dude, I rolled a 10.
oh yeah, okay. you both got out of the hole amazingly.
It's like, you're fine.
This hole is not a problem.
No.
You guys should have just come with us. This is easy.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm gonna like start like very excitedly explaining all the things we found and my discovery of this vulture creature from prehistoric times, and
Are you going to show them the skull?
yeah.
Make a spot hidden check.
can I make it an archaeology check to see how old the
Well, that's
skull is?
kind of what that first check was for, but go ahead and make another one.
Okay.
Now. You can as well if you want.
Well, I actually wanted to do it while we were up to
Ooh.
Nice.
I spotted
Oh
something
god, it's a
hidden.
97.
99.
It's
Can I spend a luck point to knock that down to a 98, or is that not allowed?
No, I don't know if you can.
I don't think
Once
you can.
critically fail.
It's like once you critically fail, you critically fail.
I think so. And there's other things. There's things you can't spend luck on.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
you
I
can't
know.
spend it on in combat roll. Is it combat rolls? I'll have to look, but there's some things you can't spend it on.
I'm like really, really unobservant today.
Yeah.
And
You're gonna have to
clumsy.
make a sanity check.
Great.
This skull. This is not a fossil.
Oh, it's fresh.
Well, it is all of whatever flesh was on it is gone, but this is not an old skull.
But a fossil is made out of stone that takes
right.
over
Yeah.
the bone.
Right. This is a skull, and it's probably not very old. So whatever this thing came from was alive within your lifetime, or maybe within the last week. So go ahead and make your sanity roll.
Great.
Can I say that my botch was just I fail a sanity roll straight up? I just,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
many? How many? D6.
D6.
You got it. 3.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. All right.
Like, I assume there's crazy ass critters out there, but I don't go out there, so it's fine.
Okay.
Do you share that?
Yeah, I would.
Well, you're a medical doctor, so you'd really probably.
That's
know
what I
that.
focused on.
Yeah.
Is the that's clearly. Look right here. You can even see. Would there be any remnant of, like, the ligament connection
Sure.
to the skull?
Like around the where it would attach to the neck, probably.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
The base of the spinal cord.
So,
Doris is now super excited that she's discovered a new living species.
Like,
Like, more excited than she was. There might be living animals out there that will be named after her.
Camilla would like to not be here.
yeah.
Wait, we haven't even gotten to the hand bit.
Yeah.
no, we haven't gotten to that. We've just
Priorities.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, there's also another thing we found. I won't bring it out to show you.
locusts?
Yes, there was a human hand down there that locusts were feeding.
A
on
what?
it.
What?
Yeah, a human hand.
A severed hand.
You didn't lead with that?
But not the rest of the
Priorities.
humans.
Exactly.
Not that we could find.
We must go straight to the
Or at
authorities.
least that was the part that was towards the surface of the excavation.
Yes.
We should go straight to the authorities.
Absolutely.
Could I see the? Did you bring it back? Or
Yes,
did you leave
of
it
course
down
we
there?
did.
I
Yes.
did brought it.
Oh.
I didn't want to just bring it out in case people didn't want.
Well, no. Now
Kind
I'm
of fell over when he saw it. Was
now I'm real medical sciencey.
It's not what I expected to see.
Okay.
I'm used to seeing mummified hands, skeletal hands, used to all of that.
I'm gonna
Fresh,
bring it out.
currently being eaten hands.
Yeah, not so
Here,
much.
I'm gonna give him the sack.
I'll walk away from everybody and I'll probably put it on top of one of the stones.
Okay.
No, it's a good plan.
That I
look
knocked
at it.
over.
Yeah. Well, now it's sideways. There's more space to work.
It's like a table.
In
It's
ter-
like we did it on purpose.
Internally, Isadore has a flashback to a drawing of a creature that he found on those walls that kind of looks like that, and it totally freaks him out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I will medically investigate this hand.
Okay. There's a medical investigation skill, I'm sure.
Well,
There's medicine.
If there was gonna be a game that had it, it would be this one.
Yeah, for sure.
There is no forensics, so I'm going to guess medicine.
yeah,
I think would be the big barking dog here.
I don't know if they.
that's
They
completely
call it
logical to
yet,
me.
but I
It
think they have like
yeah.
something. similar.
No. I learned nothing.
It seems to have been severed somehow.
Well, I could probably tell that it's been
Yes.
cut off and not gnawed.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the cuts. I mean, there's eating, but you can tell in a few spaces that there was definitely a scalpel and a saw involved.
Post-mortem eating.
Yes.
You've seen enough resident butcher jobs on
Oh,
surgery
yeah,
to
yeah.
know.
I mean, that's not my department, so that's
No.
why I'm not so good at this part. but
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you
You'd be
hang
much-
out with the bad surgeons because they're more fun.
You'd be much better at consoling whoever lost the hand. Than
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
put back in the bag.
No, but absolutely, we immediately need to. I'm saying
Find the county sheriff
whoever is the constabulary around here, immediately inform them of this.
This is a very good point, yes. I will stay and guard the hole.
I think we should all go in case whoever severed this poor person's hand
Comes
comes
back.
back. None of us should be here alone.
No.
That's true.
But then again, this is a crime scene.
I mean, it was a crime scene yesterday when we left as well, so...
But we were unaware.
And none of us are, in any way, shape, or form, prepared to stop criminals.
Dolores is going to pull out her 38. Well, some of us are more prepared than others.
Yeah, but against a possible gang of 7+ individuals that may come out here, any person, armed or not, is in a desperate situation.
And we know that they're very capable of murder, and we know that for a fact.
Or at the very least, there was someone that was somewhat trained in how to remove a hand.
That's true.
I would assume that the person that lost his hand is still alive.
Well,
I have a question, though, if you know the answer to this too. What were the conditions of the bodies of the sacrifices in this crime that we...
They were all throat cut?
Throats were slit.
Yeah.
So it doesn't follow the pattern. Very good. That makes me very happy.
although
Forensics does exist under science.
Yes.
I would like
I
to
just saw
go.
that.
Yeah, I think we need to go. We need to send out some telegrams ASAP.
we should also be very careful. We told many people that we were coming out here, and word might get around in a small enough town. And
We told... I mean, I would assume everyone knows that we're exploring something interesting in the forest.
But-
yes, so whoever killed this person left their hand here may be aware that we are poking around. So we need to be on our guard and be careful.
And more reason to get ourselves into a place where there are observers that, and outside of this obscure area where we could easily be murdered.
Where would the county seat for this area be?
It's probably a couple towns over.
Is there not like a local,
There's
Like-
no.
like a town sheriff or a town
There's probably
constable
a
or
deputy. There's probably a deputy or something who.
For Amish villages, don't they take care of everything like in house? Don't they like?
Well, they're still subject to state and federal law.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
but-
wouldn't have any local police, but the state police would probably still be the ones to handle anything like this.
This is why I think like the county sheriff
Yeah.
Yeah.
would probably be who
But wouldn't we
need
want to
contact.
inform, like, if they have any local law enforcement?
There's probably a deputy who's assigned to this town.
Well, if he's
So-
here, then we'd go see him.
Yeah. Let's just get the F out of Dodge, man. I don't want to be
Yes,
here anymore.
please.
Please and thank you.
I'll
Okay.
reel up the rope
Yeah.
because we don't need to leave it accessible.
No.
Okay. All right, and you head back to the town, and there's there's probably like a small office.
Give the farmer and his family a wave.
Okay. Waves back to you.
Have we considered that perhaps? I mean, it is on the farmer's land.
Well, it's adjacent to the farmer.
Still, he pointed out several things that led us in this direction, and we've come to no harm. I find it irrational to think that he would be directly involved.
He could have easily just hidden the information that he gave us by not telling it to us.
Indeed. He was the only eyewitness to that vehicle. There's no reason for him to give us that information if he was involved in some way, shape, or form.
Unless he wants to point a finger at someone else if he committed the murders.
But it doesn't seem like he's going anywhere, so
Well, this is his land.
we're not police, nor are we investigators. That is up to them to discover. We're here to investigate why there is a plague of locusts from a country that's literally 1,000 miles away from here.
Right, but you can't help but kind of wonder, since we found a severed hand in a cave.
I'm equipped to deal with many things, my dear. Murder is not one of them.
Very well.
Well, I'm no stranger to murder. However,
I look very shocked when you say that.
I don't mean committing murder. I'm dealing with people that have committed murder.
I mean, he does work in a criminal,
But
insane institution.
I'm sorry. I'm a little off put.
But-
I
I
apologize.
understand.
But can we, I mean,
We're leaving.
But
At
we're-
this
Yeah,
point.
going, yeah.
I'm saying that we're. Yeah, I was kind of like making conversation.
No,
as we
I
were
was just
walking.
going to say, like, I was like, I mean, I understand the macabre nature of this conversation must happen, but could it happen somewhere else? It's very disturbing to talk about this while we're anywhere near.
No, like we're getting in the
Like-
car and we're going back. Like this is a conversation while
Yeah.
we're
I
going.
think that she's still worried about it. Like she was like, "Can we talk about this when we're safe and
I-
out
Yeah,
here?"
I'm not safe until we're not safe until we're out of here. Like not in the car, not like over a cup of tea. After we've talked to the police,
Yeah.
after this is someone else's problem.
After there are people here that are trained to deal with this type of situation have arrived.
Like I feel like everyone is being very blasé about a hand that has been cut off and thrown down a hole.
You can tell that I'm scared, kind of shitless.
Like,
I am.
This is not
Dolores is 100%.
this is not one I signed up for.
Yeah. I did not think that this is not what I expected this trip was to be about.
No,
And like
entomology field trip is not where you expect to find
Yeah.
grisly details.
Yeah.
Really?
it's very disturbing to me that like
No, to the point where I'm totally happy with going out, telling people what's going on, sending a telegram to whoever the constabulary is, and getting the F out of Dodge and going, you can reach me at the university if you have questions.
Okay.
I'm out.
All right.
I am totally happy with that.
Okay.
This is not my cup of tea, and no, that severed hand freaked me out, and frankly, the fact that there seems to be some kind of subterranean beast that has the head the size of a horse also trips me out.
Now it's late afternoon. You're going to wait till morning to. Are you guys going to depart?
well we're on our way
I wanna
to
find
the
the
police.
deputy.
Okay. No, you
No,
totally
no,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can. You told that's not a problem.
Dolores is not interested in leaving.
Okay.
This is the site of her greatest discovery to date.
I am all about doing my civic duty.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that he's thinking that he gives him even the slightest second thought about leaving is that fine, but that's not if it's a live creature, not an archaeological find. None of my goddamn business. I'm gone. Let the biologist take care of that.
Not
cool.
Not part of my expertise.
Not part of my expertise. I'm willing to
So
rent
you-
a carriage and to the next train station and get the
Now,
hell
do you
out of
give
here.
you present him the hand, the severed hand
Yeah.
that you discovered? Okay, all right, all right. He seems sufficiently taken aback when you arrive, and immediately heads to the telegraph office, which is probably next door. It's probably close by the sheriff's office, and so that's in the process of being handled. They take a statement, ask you a bunch of questions about where the site is.
Yeah, I'm going to answer whatever police questions they have since I was
Oh, what
part
did
of
you
the
do
discovery.
with your plaster?
Oh, I figure like I just collected it
Got it on the
as
way out, okay.
yeah, like either I just collected it as we went because
When at that point,
now like they might be murder suspects.
Right.
yeah, there might be evidence in a case at this point. It isn't just us trying to find bugs. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we started the idea that these people might have been involved with the insects, my thinking was perhaps they brought the insects here and let them loose for some reason. Maybe they wanted to take the land from these people if they could force them out, or who knows.
It
Some
could
bit
be
of, like-
communist terrorists trying to disrupt our crop production.
Oh, good heavens.
Feels suddenly McCarthy. But I thought maybe, as an academic exercise to see if we could pull I had read about it in a journal. And it seemed such a fine opportunity to test out the theory. But I've never been a part of a murder investigation before. I don't want to be now.
No, I'm of the opinion that you let the people that have training and have resources to handle a certain problem to handle it. I am an archaeologist, not a police person. Therefore, I'm happy to hand this over to people with that expertise, especially if there might be a band of 7 murdering persons roving around the countryside. I do not want to be in that countryside. I want to be on the other side of that countryside.
I understand. I do. In all of the grisly cases I've ever had to read about, have I ever heard of a surgical removal of body parts for unknown purposes?
Make your knowledge roll, which is education.
Okay.
I'm just afraid to make rolls now.
No, right? It's like those last few, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
02. Dang.
He knows all the things.
Yeah.
He is
You're
the
full
most
of the
educated.
knowledge. Yeah.
You don't have first-hand knowledge, but you definitely have read papers about sort of quasi-ritualistic murders and other sort of occult things that involved severed limbs.
Interesting. So, this may be a case of a group of people that believe in alternative religions that may be doing these macabre acts. Perhaps there's a connection even back to Strickland, perhaps.
Are you speaking of the occult?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna make I have a cult.
Okay.
So, if I've heard anything similar, make it with my fancy blood dice.
Do it.
No. All the
7?
dice. No.
Well, there's 97.
97.
Oh, sorry.
I haven't heard of anything, and I'm too disturbed to even think about it. So if I had heard of something, I've conveniently forgotten.
Actually, I'd also want to make an occult roll, but it's a very specific one. I want to make an occult roll saying, what if there's any kind of significance to the removal of a hand in any rituals? That
Okay.
Yay! Rolling dice. It's a good thing. 33, not bad. My occult is 55, so I have made a basic occult roll.
Okay.
Someone could make rolls here.
Yes. I don't even know if you would believe in this sort of thing, but there are certain occult rituals where a sacrifice of flesh has to be made to basically transubstantiate something.
Oh. Well, I communicate that to you. Most of the time when there is either a flesh sacrifice or a sanguine sacrifice, it's something that is supposed to create a transition between the world of the dead sometimes, or whatever place that they consider to be that dimension or status, and the living world. It's something used as a opening of a door between our world and whatever they consider to be either an underworld or afterlife. There are a lot of variations.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to make leaps of logic.
Yeah. And I mean, here we have ritually arranged stones, a pit, some kind of monster, and what looks like something that was a hand that looks like it was surgically removed in some way, shape, or form. That is horrifying, and it could very well have some kind of connection to Strickland, but because it has. But the thing is, those connections are simply cosmetic. We don't have any real ties.
My thinking is, if he was doing something arranged in this similar pattern with grisly details, and now we found another similar pattern with other grisly details, more things are beginning to correlate. It's worth thinking about.
Oh, when we were making our report to the deputy I will ask somewhat casually if anybody's gone missing lately.
Okay. He tells you no. There have been. He's not aware of any missing person reports.
Well, now.
I think Dolores, like when she gives her report, is like incredibly detailed because this is the first, like accurate record of her discovery.
Okay.
So she's probably going to be very detailed about, and she's probably sat and written it all down too while they were riding in the car, as best she can. So yeah, it's beautiful writing. I mean, she's used to writing and taking notes,
Right.
Traveling the world. So it's probably not the worst place she's taken notes.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a smooth ride anywhere in this world right
no,
now.
there's not.
You know, while we're here, you do have some business with someone tied into this whole Strickland mess.
True.
I'm not saying we need to.
I was
assault
going to
some
ask
woman,
if there had been a telegram for me from Carolyn or Dr. Stratton.
Make a luck roll.
Why you hate me?
Stu, stop making us roll dice. You suck.
So no, that was a 59 over my 30.
Okay. All right. No, you have not received a reply.
Well, I've attempted to be in contact with her, but I have not yet received a reply, though it has only been one day, so who knows?
You do know where she's working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's working in a major city nearby.
It's not a major city, but it's
a university town at least.
No.
You got out of business.
She's a.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's a marriage counselor or
Right.
something like that, right?
So
Yeah.
it's probably near a large town.
Just a private psychiatrist at this point.
But it still would be in a place where people have enough to put disposable income to
Pay to talk
pay
to someone
to talk
about
to
their
somebody
problems.
else.
Right.
Yeah. Some kind of, I don't know. Is Pennsylvania landlocked?
Is it
No,
landlocked?
no, it's on the East
entirely.
Coast.
No.
So like a seaside situation where it's because don't only rich people live by the sea.
Right.
That's a thing, right?
It totally is. Okay. So it's a little past 7:30. So I'm going to fast forward to the next morning.
Okay.
Sure.
Great. Oh wait, we checked back in with.
Oh, yes, we did
Yeah.
tell Dr. Anastas.
Anastas?
And ask.
Okay.
That's
That we came back, so he doesn't send out the cavalry.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Not only
we're
that,
here. We found terrible things.
Okay.
and he's the closest thing to a biologist around here. You might want to have him examine that skull.
That's a fantastic idea. Absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely bring the skull to.
He loses his shit. I'm screaming out.
No, he rolled a
Oh.
39.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was checking for.
That would have been amusing.
So he
It's
like
only the two of us. that failed.
you hand him the skull and he's looking at it and his hands are kind of shaking a little bit and he says, "The skull is not very old. I've never seen anything like this."
Yes, it's a new creature.
Perhaps it's a fake. Sets it down.
She turns and gives you a super dirty look because you examined it and you said it was a new creature too.
Well, I said it was a fresh skull.
Right, so it's real.
I don't know if you mocked it up out of other animal parts while you were down there.
I can
don't
attest
know
to
your
I can
scientific-
attest to the fact that the skull is in the condition that in
I know
which
you
it was
didn't say,
discovered. But it could definitely be something that was created to throw us off a scent if this sort of thing exists. It seems somewhat large unless the body is much smaller than the head, which would be odd.
You said it was like 18 inches?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
This thing is probably the size of a horse.
yeah, it's like
That's what Erasmus will estimate.
I do not question that you discovered this, but I still question whether it is something that is. It is difficult for me to believe that science has not discovered a creature like this. By now.
He also can tell you by looking at it that the structure of the bone itself and the way it's put together, this thing very probably flies.
Nice.
Because it's light. It's like
Fake.
But like very
Or
bird-like.
fake.
Well,
yes.
So,
more reason to get back to the university so you can verify your discovery.
Yes. But, I mean, I suppose so. But she's worried it's fake. And she's like, I don't know if I want to take it to the university.
I'll confirm it's fake.
Yeah.
And there goes my book deal.
Yeah, I wanted to hit the papers first, maybe.
Right.
Then you just have to change the premise of the book.
Yeah.
Rural Pennsylvania town. Locked up monster found in a cave. Only the true adventurer, Doris Daniels, could uncover the truth.
P.T. Barnum arrested.
Yeah.
The Pennsylvania mermaid.
Okay. So
the
yeah,
Pennsylvania pterodactyl.
at this point, I'm having some difficulty, sort of really saying why my character would want to remain here.
Mm-hmm.
He's scared. He doesn't think this is really any of his business. And well, he already lost 5 sand though, so he's
Yeah.
really effed up.
I'm with you. Like I'm very much in favor of like I'm gonna book transportation to go see Dr. Stratton. Whether or not she has responded by tomorrow, like I'll see if she responds tomorrow. But either way, I'm booking passage out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to be here.
I
There
will
was a murder.
I would happily offer to accompany you if you would like. Of course, we'd arrange for sleeping arrangements separately, but I would
hope so.
It would be nice to travel. It would, since this is obviously shaking us both. It would probably be nice to travel together, and
Honestly, your presence would be a comfort to me.
I would be happy to
It
go
is
with you.
nice to see a familiar face when dealing with things that are disturbing. Also, it would be, I think it would be cool us to see Dr. Stratton together, and possibly she would have more to say to a fellow doctor. Though, just to be perfectly honest, I just want to ask her about the her thoughts on the opening of the institution, and
This is your project, and I do not, and I would never assume to meddle. But if you would, if
you would
like,
be the only one.
accurate. But if you would like me to speak to her, I would be happy to do so. on
Oh,
your
just
behalf.
if we could go together. I just feel it
But-
might put her more at ease to have a fellow doctor in the room.
However I may be of service, I am very glad to, since it serves my need to leave here as well.
All right. It's getting late in the day at this point.
Yeah.
Leaving today is not the best idea, but
No, tomorrow. I would like to see if their response comes from her in the morning. Possibly she just needed to have some time to think about it. But either way, I will travel in that direction on the morrow.
And I will be joining her. And I will actually wire the university and let them know that that's exactly what I'm plan on doing.
Okay.
And also that disturbing discoveries have flared up. Not enough room in a telegram to explain adequately. Full report to follow.
Okay. Alrighty.
I'm good with going with them too.
Okay.
Or, I mean, are you staying?
well, it entirely depends on what happens by morning. If the deputy comes back with more information, then I'm not opposed to staying here if I can think of something that would help. Because I'd still like to help the people around here if there's some way to do so, but I'm a psychiatrist. I'm not exactly the forefront of dealing with locusts.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right. So fast forward to the next morning.
Yeah.
Sure.
Telegram for you, sir.
Other guy. She's like, well, they just go to the next morning. Just out.
That's me.
Yeah, he has.
Basically, my response was, I'd be fine with leaving, but let's wait and see
Yeah.
what happens by the morning.
Yeah.
Because
Stuart's
Stu's been
been
sitting over there
figuring
with
that
this for like an
telegram.
Oh,
hour.
I haven't noticed that. I was waiting for us to be killed in the night. Or attacked or
It's a
something.
short campaign,
Yeah,
but
That would
cool.
be real.
I had a great time.
Here
Yeah,
we
no
go.
kidding.
Think you're leaving, assholes? No.
There's an outbreak of yellow fever in Akron, Pennsylvania. Procure with utmost haste a tissue sample of a victim. If possible, deliver a willing victim of the disease to the university. Yellow fever is not known to be contagious, though sources of mosquitoes should be avoided. From Dr. Evan Stone.
And let's leave it there.
No, okay. Yellow fever, huh?
There was a newspaper article about that before we left home.
There was.
There was.
I said that in my telegrammy voice.
I said that in my telegram.
It would appear that the yellow fever outbreak in New York City is nearing its end. The yellow fever outbreak that has plagued the Manhattan neighborhood is now over, declared New York Mayor John Hyland. The outbreak, which began in March of this year, claimed nearly 500 lives and left thousands critically ill. And then it goes on for like an entire thing that I'm not going to read. But just so Stu knows that his efforts in making this were very much appreciated.
Oh, the newspaper is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I would like to say that Master Vidar in the chat almost broke me, but I kept it inside.
Oh, yeah.
Because he said, terror, P-T-E-R-R-O-R, in Pennsylvania.
It's a pterodactyl.
Yes, yes. And I have to say, Master Vidar, that is exactly what I was thinking when I said.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for our first session.
Episode
proper.
1.
Yay!
Yes.
And we will be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
For those of you following Traveler, we will not be playing Traveler next Sunday because, Kimi can't be here, and it's also my birthday, and I decided to not play Traveler on my birthday.
Okay.
Because he can
It's
do
your
what he
birthday.
wants.
I can do
Play
what I want.
Traveler.
I can do what I please. So thank you very much.
Choose not to travel on your birthday.
And
We'll talk to you soon. Check out happyjacks.org/schedule.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
If I told you the things I've seen on my ways, if I told you the things I've done in my days, you wouldn't believe me anyway. So it's best I just don't say. I've lived 1,000 lives, I piloted 1,000 souls, I killed and fought and died just for a single role.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.